for yourself. Open your eyes and know for yourself.
Good and how pleasant it is for brethren and sisters to join in unity. Bless up. Can you all hear me? Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3. Microphone, microphone, microphone. Talk to me. Jeff Warrell. All right, all right. You know our Wednesday night thing, we have to big up everybody because Saturday, difficult, right? Beverly, stay so. Elaine, yes. Up there in the front row, Elaine. Big up yourself. Big up yourself. Who else is Miss D. Miss D. Miss D. Good evening. J Master Songwriter. Yes. Blessings. Greetings. 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 Miss B. Stay so. Jeffrey Warrell has this thing from Jeffrey Tavares. Big up yourself, Jeffrey Warrell. Merle. Yes, what you say, Merle said? Come kick back, relax, and listen. Okay, ask for God blessings. Thank you. Patel, Cruikshank, good evening. Douglas, blessings. Who else we have here? Who else we have here? Who else? Carla Ibanks, bless up, bless up, bless up, bless up. CR, I see you. Yes, I see you too. Big up yourself. Who else is here? Dorothy McCoy. Yes, blessings. Up. Dorothy Elliott, up there, Miss Barbara Giwa. Good night to you. Mega, hey, new lot safe. Mega, don't forget, this Saturday is Lawman Lynch thing, and you need to bring the crew, go around and go support the man. I'm on Riverdale and Osborne. Right now, the heart of Brownsville, our place, all right? Miss Rita, Yes, pleasant good night to you. Blessings. Isilda from Manchester, UK. Big up yourself. Thanks for being here. We know it late. Actually, early in the morning, Isilda. So thanks for being here. Cynthia B. Happy Wednesday evening to you too. I just love this name, Cheerful Wild Horse. Good night to you as well. Carla Banks. Yes, 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 indeed. Talk to Queen Breezy. Blessings to you and your family. Real black woman. Another nice name, my love. Big up yourself. Kinsley Anglin. Yes, yes, yes. Fruit the Pan. Good evening to you. Talk to me, OT. Who else is here? Who else is here? Who else is here, OT? Nobody else? All right. Them all join later. All right, cool. Let me see what else. Nobody else, right? Let me see. What about time now? Okay. All right. All right. Well, folks, listen. Tonight, a Wednesday night. I don't know who is here. Who is here? None other than the herbalist, the doctor himself, Dr. Ben. Last week he spent he didn't spend the full time with us now. We feel jealous about that, but you know, him the tired and him a run up and down and things like that. So hey Eddie, big up yourself, Eddie. The man that never shekel for used to live right across the street from your firehouse. Big up yourself, Eddie. So Doc never get to spend. We feel cheated. So I hope tonight him don't come and tell us, well, right now, boy, him a go leave early. You know what I say? And then guess who we have with us? We have my nephew, Jamaicans, one of the most brilliant young minds out of Jamaica right now. And them say Jamaica is a land of what, wood and water and opportunities and what the other one? Prosperity. Well, we want all of them things if we flow upon this youth here because this man here, I mean, him have it going. Man have him things set up. The man is organized. The man is intelligent. The man is personable. Hey, all of the qualities you need in a leader, you find them right in this man here. And we just hope say, Jah guide and bless him, you know, because him up on the road. I have to give him a strength. And Dr. Ben is here, so if anything wrong with him, we know we just send him go to Portland. And we know him good. We don't send him go to St. Thomas. A scientist them over there, so you know. A doctor there at Portland. So let me stop here. Let me stop. Me talk to our brethren today who come from Portland, you know. And I said to him, say, we are talking about something. And I said, so this conversation was about people that try to hurt you and things like that. So I said, but you which part the scientists, them man. Him said, no, I don't use them, you know. I said, why? Him said, because I don't believe in them, you know, so I don't think them going to work. I said, you never know till you try out. You try one of the scientists and you're there St. Thomas, but him refused to do that. So, all right. Anyway, people, listen, we have a whole lot of things to talk about. But without further ado, we're not going to keep Dr. Ben and my nephew sit down in the chat. So, like say, you know, them not come. Bring them on, OT. Bring them. Hey, see them here. Gentlemen, welcome.
Yeah, man, it's good to be on. Sorry about last week, Bratty and the whole family. I was in St. Thomas and it's a bit, it's not as stable as being in Portland. So made sure that I was in St. Thomas for tonight.
All right. Patel, I joke, me I'm making the Patel. I take it serious when I talk about St. Thomas. I love St. Thomas, you know. I love St. Thomas people. And in fact, me have scientists in my family. Everybody knows me have scientists in my family. So at least one that me know of. And a good scientist does. So, all right. Jamaica, talk to me. What go on?
Blessings and honor, man. It's a great blessing and to be around family members and be around people with such great information to share. So another day of learning. I have my book, my pencil, my pen, my highlighter ready because you know it's another day when we come and you know talk about food business and learn from each other. Blessings to everybody.
Yeah. And then people run us so them don't forget nothing, you know. Because see, Megawatt had put up my business out and I chat there already, you know. I talk about my scientists because Mega, you know, easy, you know easy at all. ICM TV, big up yourself. So much is going on in content rich Jamaica. So much that we don't even know where to start. We don't know where to start, Dr. Ben, I tell you, because there's so much going on. We can talk about SSL. We don't want to go in that deep because last night, the master of SSL, Mystic Sensation, he went deeper than anybody. Not the SSL thing. I mean, the man know SSL like the back of my hand. And we went into it last night, and it's not pretty, people. It's not pretty. We have a whole lot more things too. The diaspora support for a protest in Jamaica. We don't forget about that. We're going to talk about that a little bit more, because this Saturday we are going to make a decision. Are we going to support protests in Jamaica or not? I think we should. I really do think we should. So I'll wait to hear.
Support what, Ratty? Support what?
A protest. A protest.
Okay, like the one
Yeah, we're planning a protest in Jamaica, and we are planning for bus people in from St. Thomas, and
Where would it be?
right now we're looking at Kingston, but some people in the chat reach out to me privately and said, no, man, you need to have it someplace central, and Kingston is not central. Them said to me, say, Mandeville is central Jamaica, or at least it's more central than Kingston, because they can get people from all over come right there. But if you keep it, Kingston is more towards the eastern end of the island.
Right.
People there, Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth.
Difficult for them.
And Trelawney, they might go have some difficulty getting there. So if you put it right, so everybody can come. And then you can bus people into as well. So we are looking to that. Plus, you know that about approximately 70% of Jamaicans living in Jamaica go to bed with a stomach full of empty calories or just empty. And we'll try to do something about that. At least one day we're going to feed them, and we're going to feed them nice. So, but is not where we really want to feed them with is the message. Because through the message and through the information, through the education, they'll be able to fish for themselves. Right now, Eco, you're right, we have Central Kingston. But Eco, look above, you see what Darren said? Manchester is central. So yeah, so we are trying to do this thing at Dr. Ben, and we know that they might read the budget back in they might read the budget mid-March. And we are hearing that there is a plan to announce the election. We're not sure about that still, because the numbers not looking good. The numbers far from looking good, and we're going to talk about that this Saturday in depth. We're going to talk about the policy about a good economy, the policy about lowest unemployment in the history of Jamaica, the policy about the debt to GDP ratio. We're going to just debunk all of the nonsense that they've been feeding our people, so that when our people them go out, whether it's church, school, or bar, or the community center, or the bus, or wherever, and then your people talk this nonsense, then can correct them, and then can correct them intelligently, without any emotions, and then can deal with them. So, I see my good friend Jeffrey Tavares is here. Mr. Jeffrey, Mr. Boomba V. Wait, you blind Jeffrey? And I said, Dr. Ben on. Him say, I hope Dr. Ben is coming on tonight.
The man definitely had to be here. Night, Jeffrey. How you doing? Good to have you, man.
You need something for my side, Walk like a champion. Mandeville is central, but where's the space to hold thousands of people? Well, Dorrit, talk to the people now. Them say, where is a place in Mandeville to hold thousands of people? And have a park in Mandeville. I'm sure not have a park in Mandeville. I want to talk about the bus park. We don't have a park in Mandeville where we want to play football or something like that, but we can come and have a good time. Oh, Mega said Jeffrey medication finished. So that's hey people, that's why I like this Wednesday show, because it's a free-flowing show and people can just say whatever they want, and there's a lot of jollification here as well, whereas on the Saturday now it's more serious. But this program kind of serious too, but at the same time, there's a certain amount of levity what we bring to the program. Because, at the middle of the week, I want people to just relax. All right? Brooks Park. Is that in... I never heard about that park. I don't... Oh, Brooks Park in Mandeville. Okay. That can hold thousands and thousands of people. All right. Um, we also want to talk about the DPP because we might save that for Saturday because I want to go through again and talk to you about my action and my brethren, the valiant one in England, of our action went to the GLC, and despite the mountain of evidence, we're going to show you we'll show you how them reason or didn't reason to their conclusion. We're going to show you all of that. What else we have to show you? Marissa Dalrymple, Philip. Oh, notice nobody no say nothing about that case there. That case is a serious blow to Jamaica's efforts in the anti-corruption struggle. It's a serious blow. And you notice it just blow over. Nobody said nothing. Well, no 9-day wonders around here. We're going to bring that up. We also talk about what damaged brand Jamaica. Remember one time at Jeffrey, or them say we mash up the people in the diaspora, mash up brand Jamaica, and we see what going on in Jamaica. We have our Jamaican politicians that mash up brand Jamaica. So them can't point to us any longer. Them have to go say, well, right now, boy, take blame for it. By the way, one of my favorite ministers, Minister Kamina Johnson Smith. Me get friend understand say she don't really dig me, and I don't know why. I can't figure that one day out, because I've been nothing but truthful to her, and I don't know why she don't like me. And I haven't talked about her for quite some time. But just so you know, to them I file an ATI today. I file an ATI today, and it went to my favorite minister. I mean, the questions somebody asked me, no, she not go. If she not like me already, she not gonna like me now, but that's all right. She will get over it. It's just a feeling, it's just a feeling. It's just a feeling.
It wouldn't be you.
Yeah,
It wouldn't be you if you don't find an API.
This Saturday, people, we have two of the most dynamic people coming out of Jamaica. They'll be on the program. And here's what I'm slowly discovering. The geniuses in Jamaica right now, in general, the geniuses, young people like Jamaicans, and women. Women. We have some powerful women in Jamaica. Now I tell you, bright like a morning star. Them know what them I talk about, them know them I do, them know the thing, and them fearless. Two of them will be on the program this Saturday. Jeanette Calder from JAMP will be on the program, and Rosalie Hamilton will be on. Rosalie Hamilton, professor, but she Sean there. Put on Sean there, OT. Yeah, welcome, Sean. Big up yourself.
Yes, blessed Ratty. How are you today? Blessed.
Yeah, man, on top of the world, brother. On top of the world.
Likewise.
Yeah, but Calder and Rosalie Hamilton. Rosalie Hamilton, affectionately known as Rosalie. She not like when we call her professor and things like that. Very, very humble person. But she gonna come talk about the Babylon system where we have in Jamaica, where the Rastaman them talk about for decades. And she'll come highlight the continuation of it by virtue of the bill that is before Parliament right now. The bill that was submitted in December and will be discussed next week, starting next week or next month, March. I don't remember when exactly in March, but it's 3 months from the data submission that they start the discussion. And then after that, them kick back, and then 3 months later, them vote. And then it got to the Senate. So she's going to come talk about some deficiencies with the bill. I also will talk about it because my issue regarding the bill is a bit different from her issue. Nevertheless, we're both saying that the bill is deficient. And then we have Jeanette Calder. And please, me I beg on the people, my family, me I beg on show up now thousands this Saturday. Because what we are going to do is something that the government should be doing, something that the government is charged with responsibility of doing, but something that the government is not doing. And that is to teach you how to file ATIs. There is an office within or there's a component within the office of the prime minister that's responsible for ATIs. And they're supposed to go out, make public service announcements, let people understand what this ATI is about and how you can acquire information from your government about how they're spending your money, decisions that they're making on your behalf. And they're not doing it. In fact, when another favorite minister of mine, not my favorite, but another minister I really check for, Minister Morgan, when he was there as Minister of Information within the portfolio of the Office of the Prime Minister, he did not allow the chief spokesperson for ATIs to come and speak to the diaspora. He said no. But anyway, I'm self-taught with the ATIs, and Janet Calder, I believe she has some formal education about it as well as learning over the years. So we are going to teach our people this Saturday how to file ATIs, because listen, it can be my investigative reporter Zara Burton. It can't be Zara Burton, Janet Calder, and Wilfred Rattigan just a file ATIs. It cannot be. Cannot be. But I'm willing to bet you that if they should look at the number of ATIs filed, you're gonna find the three are in the top 10. Or maybe three are in the top 5. And it can't be. And I get people calling me and say, hey, can you file this? Or how do we go about this? Well, this Saturday we're going to solve all of those problems. Now, here's what's likely to happen. And it's happening because there's a dear friend of ours in the chat, family member in the chat right now, who has been sending off ATIs and them not respond. This is the typical response of them. No response. You file the ATI, and even though they're supposed to respond to you within 30 days, maximum 60 days, they don't respond. You can't take it like that. You have to continue just filing. Now, one of the things, and it's a feather in my cap, one of the things is that when I file, I usually get a response. Sometimes I get a response the same day. And I think that is because I'm like a nuisance to them, because I keep filing, and then I'm not going to stop. And then I appeal as well. So that's where we are. We have a whole heap of things to talk about, and we're going to intersperse what we are talking about with.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I would love to bring some attention to, Ratty, and I was made aware of that this week. It is body cams. I get to understand that the what's that prosecutory arm of the Indicom. I was speaking to a member of Indicom, and they were saying that even though we have about 80 body cams, the police refuse to wear them. So we have gotten some donated by the Jamaican embassy, and I would think that in an effort to in a good show of stamping out corruption. As a matter of fact, I believe that this is something that if the government wanted to show that it's against corruption, the 80 cameras that we have or so should be in use. And number two, I believe that from the diaspora, one of the largest way of showing support to helping to eradicate the public perception of corruption is to in some way contribute more body cameras. So we are thinking that it's a good idea to donate body cameras. It's a good idea for the police to wear them. I get to understand that most of the police, as well as the police hierarchy, even though Indicom is promoting and pushing it, it is not something that the police force are willing to do, number one. And number two, there's nothing that can be done to enforce them or to force them to wear it. So I'm thinking that it should be, if this is something that is going to change the perception, the public's perception of corruption, and if this is something that would help, it should be in some way based on availability, mandatory as much as it's possible for police officers to wear it. It shouldn't even be optional for them to choose to say no, they don't want to wear it. So the fact that the police force don't want to encourage their members to wear it or even force their members to wear it, it's really a show that nothing is being done on their part to change the perception or the public's perception of corruption. So I think that this is something, when we talk about election, you know, as I said, I'm one of those persons, Ratty. I believe more in people power. And I'm for people power. I'm also for policies. Any politician that can show me policy, because any politician that is really seriously thinking about changing the public's perception about politics and how politics is done, this should be on top of their campaign. There are certain things that should be a part of their policy, and it should be a part of their campaign. And then after they go into power, these are things. So we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are the things that you're running on. Then you better know that these are as long as you're in power, these are the things that the public is going to hold you to and measure your success in terms of government against. So you will know before you even run again for election, even before you run for election again, if it was 10 of them and you didn't fulfill all 10, just know that you can't even run again for election. Don't even think about it, because you are being graded. You know the criteria that you are being graded against. And if you don't meet them, you're not going to have a chance of winning. This is how I believe politics should be done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I believe that police wearing body cameras should be one of the policies that is on any campaign ticket. And so if it is not being if Jamaica, if it is not being mentioned, if it's not being brought to the forefront, then I believe a platform like this and others like this should do their part in ensuring that it rises to the top of the priority list. Body cams for police.
Jamaicans?
Absolutely. It is crazy that we live in a country where
We can't. We're not hearing you. You're low. Sound low.
You hearing me any better?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you ever so much. Sorry about that. It is I echo the same sentiment as you, Dr. Ben. It is very bad that we live in a country where the body camera is not just used for the public safety, it is also used for the officer's safety, so that the story can be told properly. Because there are a lot of times where the police officers have to be protecting themselves, and that is paramount, safety on both parts. So to protect the police officer and also to protect the Jamaican people, the body camera is very, very necessary. And to hear our leaders talking against it, it is very messed up. And we have to have a different country. We have to have something different from this in our society. Technology is here to make things efficient, and so we can do things better. And instead of going forward with technology, we are hearing people saying that they don't want to use it. But the country and the people have to have that perception of safety, which they don't have. The Jamaican people are afraid to go on the road. The Jamaican people are afraid all over, and that is a problem. So I definitely echo the sentiment of Mr. Ben. Say it is a must that we have body cameras, and it must be worn.
Yeah. As far as you know, Ratty, what's your knowledge on it? Is there anything in the political, whether either side, is there anything on the table for as it relates to crime and violence? Is there anything on the table as it relates to the use of body cameras?
I have a lot to talk about, but let me have Sean jump in.
What platform do they run on? What do they claim to be giving the Jamaican people as far as, moving forward in the world. Like, I wonder what they use as a stage, and what is it they say to people that forces that even remotely makes them think that to some extent that any of these guys are gonna say that police need to wear body cams. You know, I don't. I've never heard them say that. Neither person running for office has picked up that that need. It's happening everywhere else in the world. Everywhere that consider themselves a modern country. I don't see, and I wonder what we would need to do, Rattigan, to get the people to force them into um, accepting body cams. Because I don't think anybody here is disputing whether or not the police should wear body cams. You know, I think that the question amounts to how do we make them wear body cams, and which one of our elected leaders is going to stand up and say, yeah, this is a priority on my list. We're going to make the police wear body cams if I come into office. And like Dr. Ben said, hold them responsible if they don't. You know, hold them responsible if they don't. I think that should more be how do we move forward and force them into this, you know. And with that, you know, that's how I would like to begin the conversation, to say honestly, because I think they like you say, sometimes they just take us for fools. You know, it's offensive to Jamaican people. I don't see anybody. I've never come across anybody who say that's a bad idea. And you know, we're right. We're getting into an age of technology. It's too easy. It seems too easy, and it seems too much of a no-brainer and a low ball for us to sit here and not understand exactly what they're doing to us as a people. And we know the Jamaica we want. And that's the Jamaica we have to fight for. And I say, you know, like you said, you want to see them out in the thousands. I'd like to see them out in the thousands too. I'll be there.
And I'm seeing Cynthia. Cynthia says the security minister said body cam is not necessary. It's a waste of time. Rattigan, let me tell you something.
I mean,
if this is true, because Cynthia, you have to be careful that this is misinformation. Because I don't think a security minister should make a statement like this and still be security minister. I don't think, and I think beyond that, in addition, I think, Rattigan, and I'm going to make a request of you, that we need to find this video and we need to play it multiple times. I'm going to ask you to find this video, because I'm wondering, and there may be others wondering too, if this is a fact or if this is misinformation. This is where platforms hold people accountable. If it is that a security minister says this, I would want to see in what context he said it, and if it is true, and if he said it, this should be played repeatedly. It should be played repeatedly. And then we ask the public now, should a minister of security make a statement like that and still be the minister of security? Because herein lies the problem.
somebody said it's not misinformation. Post a link.
Well,
Jeffrey, help Rattigan. I would like to see
Help
this
us
for
out.
myself.
Help us out, Jeffrey. Post a link. I want to see.
I would like to see this for myself, because I am I feel strongly already that this is misinformation, because I don't believe a security minister could make a statement like that.
All right. Let us start with the proposition that we have a security minister is not a security minister. He's not a security expert. He's a medical doctor. So he don't really know what's going on. We don't know why he's in that position, and especially for the length of time he's been there. Now, he did say that body-worn cameras are not very useful in police shootings, right? He said that they should wear them like for traffic infractions and things like that, which don't make any sense, because a raid and things like that, because that's when people really are gonna get hurt, when they go on a raid, you know.
And that's when there's a high likelihood of conflict of a statement, a high conflict of what really happened. That's what we
Right,
right.
right. And here is something that's quite interesting. Between January 1st and the middle of this month, the JCF, and I forgot who else, announced that the murder rate went down like 23%. What they didn't tell us, and we found out, is that the extrajudicial killings went up 170%, approximately. So people are dead, it's just who are killed them.
Yeah.
There's just one. And in fact, the JCF, they were killing, just like the vitamin, one a day. One a day. One a day, them are kill people. Now, we can talk about the efficacy of removing those people off of the streets, the people that kill. I have no problem to do it in self-defense of themselves and defense of others. I have no problem with that. But if somebody tell you, so this man is a bad man, and you go down the street and you see him and you just light him up, so I have a problem with that. And I guarantee you that human rights people will come down hard. And I think Jamaicans for Justice also involved in this, because them say the extrajudicial killings, they're going up. At one point, they were trending down, and now it's start go up. So I don't know the reason behind that. But here's the thing: body cams. Go back, people, and do a little research and look at Plan Secure Jamaica in 2016 and see if it have anything about Jamaica IR body cam from 2016 going forward. Then in 2020 they have something called the Crime Monitoring and Oversight Committee, CMOC. This was in 2020, just before the election, and the purpose of that was to say, look, we're going to come together and we're going to come up with a plan to, the word them use again, it'll come to about, it's to improve the police, right? And also the judiciary was mentioned in there, and corrections, transforming the JCF. That's the term they use, right? And then our doctor minister never showed for the meetings. I mean, we heard that on this program from Mr. The gentleman who was the head of that organization. And then we also heard from Mr. George Overstreet. He came on the program on Saturday and said that they're kind of disappointed about some of the support that they're getting from the police, from the ministry. So we're gonna have Mr. George Overstreet back, because he said that people were asking on the program, what is CMOC? We never hear about them people yet. So he said,
I remember.
You remember, right?
Yes.
And he said, I'm going to do something about that and change. But I haven't seen anything since he left. So I'm gonna have him come back and find out from him, but if this is a phantom thing, disappearing thing, or it's something that's real, that they're gonna make a really strong effort to inform the public about what's going on. So the body cam, which is supposed to capture images, make a video of everything that's going on while the police is on duty. If you turn that off, then how can we be so sure that what you're saying is true? Keep in mind that under Peter Bunting, it was the American government donated hundreds of body cams.
They're not being used.
Well, just like, and then they come up with this half-baked idea about Jamaica Eye, the eye blind, because what it requires is that it requires citizen participation in it so that you can feed into the thing. But I guarantee they don't have a proper intelligence center where they can monitor everything that's going on. But it comes back to the fact, that what we have a discipline, we have a incompetent,
unprofessional
minister of, when I say uneducated in the field of national security, not in the field of medicine. He doesn't know what he's doing. And guess what? People? His number two is worse. His number two is an athlete, Mrs. Juliet Cuthbert Flynn. Remember, she was the junior minister over in the Ministry of Health. And I don't know what happened, but they move her to one of the most, if not the most, one of the most significant ministries in the country, and put her there as a number 2. And you hear what she said, people? You hear what she said? She gave a speech and she said, Mark Golden and Peter Bunt, they have a company that was investigated for anti-corruption. Listen keenly, for anti-corruption, not for corruption, but it was investigated for anti-corruption. No, that makes no sense. But and by the way, it wasn't an off-the-cuff remark. It was a written speech. You read that. These are the incompetence that we have. And I'm being very nice with my descriptive terms because there are some other terms I could use to describe them. But this is a family show. So I'll keep it clean. But that's the problem we have. That is the problem we have. We don't have competent people running the country. And we keep saying it, we keep saying it, we keep saying it, we keep saying it. But we have to keep saying it because otherwise it will be a 9-day wonder.
Right. And entities like because it's one thing for the public to speak out and to speak. If we have entities like the Indicom, because this is one of the big major requests that Indicom is making as they probe and as they investigate police excess use of force. What they're saying that would make their job easier is if these body cams could be in use, and it's not being given the flux and the attention that it needs. This is something I know that there are other things that could change the public's perception of corruption, but I don't know if there's any that is as far-reaching as the camera. I mean, the other one was the Integrities Commission right now that again is investigating corruption at the highest level and is being brought to court. I mean, these are things that, again, the media, the formal media, whose job it is to highlight and to keep these things in the forefront, are not doing what they're doing. But as it relates to the camera, I mean, if it is that the minister of security made a statement like that, he shouldn't be let off the hook so easily, where it is just swept under the rug. I mean, there should be an inquiry. The man should be taken off frontline duties until that statement is either retracted, an apology be made for him to even be considered to be in his position. Because when people make statements like these, it gives you a hint as to what is going on in their head. It gives you a hint as to what's going on in their head. And we need to understand that the public's perception as well as the external perception of corruption is very important, because when we have a nation that sees corruption as being norm, we are already seeing it that when it is time for election, we are seeing anybody hardly being even interested in voting. What is next? What is going to happen next is when you start to have people who believe that they have that both sides have failed them, and so what you need is what is happening in Haiti, where you find some figure says, "Listen to me, may I have to take," and it may sound like a far cry, but it's not far. It's not far. This is where we can go, and this is where we'll go. When you find people who have no confidence, who have no faith in the political system, what you now find is a third option, and that third option is what we don't want, which is anarchy. That's the third option now. When people have lost confidence in representative politics, the natural result is for persons to resort to anarchy, because persons have lost faith in who they have elected to represent them. So they said, might as well, guess what? We work with who we know. And that is where we are going to head if corruption is not resolved. So it's not like it's just going to be a forever revolving circle where one party in, one party out, one party in, one party out. No, it can get worse than that. It can lead to anarchy. And so this is the seriousness that we have dealing with. So we must take this as being important. And before it reaches there, then there's the external perception where once countries don't see us as being trustworthy enough to do business, then it's going to be difficult for us to do business with the rest of the international community as it is already, especially as it relates to doing business online, which is where the money is. The money for the entrepreneurs to make money in Jamaica, the money is not in Jamaica, the money is outside of Jamaica. But there are so many hurdles and red tapes and bureaucracy for us to access that funds. Why? Because there is the perception that, once you do business in a Jamaica, it is a high likelihood that you're going to be scammed, or there's a high likelihood that you're not going to be able to do what you're supposed to do because of bureaucracy and corruption. If you bribe somebody or something like that. So it is very important.
Just looking at the statement, Marie, attributed to Marie, where she said, Chan declared that Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing that the cameras are of, quote, very little value, end of quote, if they're being worn by the police during confrontations with gunmen. So I remember him saying that if they're going out on a raid or something like that, they shouldn't want them wear it. No. So they want them wear it if you have the traffic. So maybe say you're out of the traffic and you end up with stopping a car with some gunmen and shooting stuff. Were you supposed to turn off the body cam? I mean, I don't understand this logic. You turn off the body cam because you can't use it. It's of no value when you're in confrontation with gunmen. But this is the kind of stupidity. This is the kind of asinine people that we have running aspects of the country. There are somebody tell me said them not no good minister. But I would say compared to some of them, I mean it's relative. Because if you do it on a standard, by the way, let me ask all of you this question. Particularly Dr. Ben and Jamaicans, because both of you are not here. Whatever happened to the job letter that all of these ministers were supposed to get from the Prime Minister with a 2.5-year lifespan, and he was going to do performance evaluation on them? Because it appears as if they have done one on Minister Chang. Because if they did one on him, then he couldn't have gotten the award him get the other day, out of Jamaica, out of this, whatever him get some award the other day. He's not deserving of that based on his performance. So have you heard anything more about this
job description?
The job description. He said job letter. I think we have the job description, which is foolishness. But the job letter, he said he was going to give them a job letter. In fact, he said it in 2016 before the election.
Mm-hmm. And
I saw it today. Because I saw the 100-day promise, but then I went and I saw it in the newspaper which reported that he said it, that should he come to power, his administration would be given, all ministers would be given a job letter. Have you heard anything more about that?
Not one thing about it.
No.
And yes, Mr. Ben, the security minister in November 7th of 2024, he did say that the body cameras are of little or no value in a shootout. So he did say those things, and yes, it's a cockistocracy where we are being led by the least among us to know that this man is the Minister of Security. However, he don't see the importance of first protecting the team member, which is the police officer, because the body camera is not just for the public, it is for them as well, so that you can find transparency when it comes on to a case and you can get it resolved by evidence being there. So if this is a technology to move the country forward and the leader of the ministry don't want it, it just goes to show how far behind Jamaica is. So when they say that we are part the 1950s revolution, technological revolution has left Jamaicans, there you go. So
the question is, if the minister who works for us, because he's in representational politics, if he has a view that is not the view of those who he's representing, and if this is the view of the public, so he's employed by the public to represent the public, and he holds a view that is not the view of majority of the public. Two things can happen. He does not have shouldn't be in that position because he's employed by the public to act on behalf of the public. Or two, well, I mean that's number one because there's no number two because the public shouldn't try to the public shouldn't employ somebody to execute its views and its wishes, and then after they try to get it done through somebody else. The reason why he's there is to represent the public. He's there to represent the wishes of the public. So if he's not doing what is in the best interest of the public, then he's not a good public servant because he's not serving the public. He's not carrying out the wishes of the public. So how does a person like that still hold their position and the public allow them to hold it? Because it is not the person who is representing the public that has the power here. It is the people that have the power because he's in service to the people. So it really is that the people are not exerting themselves, are enforcing their wishes. They just taking it lying down. I mean, we talk about ATI, but in a situation like that, what can the public do, or what should the public do to a public servant who is not representing their best interests?
Well, even in the House of Parliament, in the House of Parliament, I heard he talk about the Jamaican eye, and it's so ironic he talk about the card is not proper, and that is one of the things that caused it. So when I hear him say the card have issue, so I'm saying there's no maintenance that happen in Jamaica political system or any of the ministry, because to know that it is a card that if you say that the cameras are not compatible or they need changing, you can understand that. But you put in place these things and there's no maintenance. It's just like the same thing with the roads. Over 9 years, no maintenance process. And you wait until the road then mash up, then you start to patch them. It just goes to show right throughout this government, nobody takes maintaining seriously. But Mr. Rattigan.
No, you know what? Hey, welcome, Chris. Chris that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, big up yourself. Welcome. Join the conversation, man.
So if it was a private sector scenario, the person who made the call to purchase those body cams and then it don't work, them don't have a job, right? Because that's the first thing. How can you spend millions of dollars? Because I know it's millions of dollars.
Well, they got them a thing. They got them as a gift. When they bought someone, majority they got as a gift. I hear.
All right, so they got them as a gift. Well, find the right things them to think there. Even before you got them as a gift, if you know you don't have, it's like you gifting me an airplane and I can't fly an airplane. I can tell you, so hold on, Dr. Ben, that don't serve my purpose. Or if I'm going to get it, then I made a decision that I'm going to be certified, to get certified to become a pilot. So the point I am making is that even if they got it as a gift, then you take steps to, because don't those cameras were being utilized wherever they got it from first?
More than likely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Right, Chris.
then you don't just get it and you drop the ball there. You get it and you find the necessary software for it to work. Because as far as I'm concerned, that's like you getting a 50% discount on an item. Because you already receive it for free. The least you can do is invest in the software to make it work.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. They got the first batch for free, and in their budget, the JCF, they made provisions to purchase more cameras. So, and they always tell you about the procurement policy, and they always tell you about supply chain and this and that and that. Well, you would think, like Chris is saying, that if you go and purchase something, you'd purchase something that's going to work. How can you purchase something that's not going to work? And especially when they say we need time to do all of this background and all of this assessment before we choose which one. And we know what. If you go back and you look and you figure out the ones that they purchased, I guarantee you're going to find somebody who's connected.
So why is it that they bought traffic ticket machines, and the traffic ticket machines are being used, but the body cameras are not being used?
Well,
We bought a
the traffic ticket machine.
So now
the traffic ticket machine is a revenue source.
The revenue generating thing.
Body cam is an accountability source.
Right. So there is a problem. What Ratty said, if you make it worse, because if we get them and I use them, but I buy them and I use them, you mean you take my money and buy something, and you're gonna tell me say I mean it's not being. I think at this point, and I'm saying this because we're going into an election, and this should be fodder for even the political party that is out of politics, because one of Jamaica's biggest problem, is crime. One of Jamaica's biggest deterrent to investment, to growth, is crime and corruption. This, if I were in the other party, this would be one of the things that I would be leading with. In other words, the PNP, what part of what they should be doing, they should be bringing the government on its knees in terms of and as I said, that's why I'm neutral. I'm not aligned to any political party, because I believe maybe the why the reason I'm just saying maybe not, but I believe that maybe why they're not pushing it is maybe because it's not important to them either. That's just how my brain works. For you to tell me that it's important, for you to tell me that you're protecting my interests, for you to get my vote, these are the policies that you have to present to me to get my vote. Because you're telling me that it's not important to the party in power, and if you come in, it's not going to be important to you. So we need really political reform. We need reform. So I'm saying that if you are, what studies have shown is that a strong opposition makes a strong government. It's a fact. A strong opposition makes a strong government. So I'm saying that if I am encouraging the incumbent party, if this is not a part of your policy, please, if you added this, so what you should be doing, you should be leading the charge. We don't have much say. You are the opposition. If you were saying to the Jamaican, the government, you need to tell us what is the state of the cameras, how many cameras we have, how many is working, how many is not working. You need to tell us, why aren't the police wearing these? You need to make it important. And when you begin to push that, even if it's even as I got, people begin to see that you are taking the people's interests at heart. Because at the core of one of our biggest problems, the lack of growth, is corruption. So anything that affects corruption, and if you're smart enough, don't make it look as if you're looking political mileage out of it. Do it in such a way where we know that it's really the people that you care about. Because I'm saying that I spoke to a member this week of Indicom, and I said, I'm a part of a show now. Would you come on the camera? He said, no, they don't want to come on the camera and talk because it would not be in the best interest of where she worked. But when she explained to me the politics that goes on in the police force and how the government is in bed with the police force, how the government wants to appease the police force. Because that's what it boils down to, The government refuses to apply pressure to the police force. to expose corruption and crime because they need the police force. Remember now, if I'm a bad government, if I'm doing bad, if I'm involved in corruption and you are involved in enforcing the law, I need to have you on my side, you know. This is what is happening in Jamaica. When a government is involved in corruption, that government needs the support of law enforcement. They cannot allow the law enforcement to be against them. So if you are a wise politician, especially if you're on the outside, knowing that the only thing that would change the narrative for me is unless you are now willing to put pressure on it through public space and through your position to get the government. This should be on the top. It can be, embarrassing it would be for the present government to be presenting an argument why the statement that that statement that the Minister of Security made. He should be put in a position, if that is belief, he should be put in a position to be making that statement more. Not one time, but he should be put in a position where he's forced to make that statement more so that not only Jamaica, but the rest of the world can see what is at the root of our corruption. That is how you use that position of opposition. You are the formal party of opposition. That is what you're supposed to do for the people. Because our government have what is called a government and an opposition, and the opposition is supposed to be the voice, the official voice of the people. So if Indicom want to get this out there, Indicom should let us go to the opposition party and say, yo, listen to me. You know, so we are trying to get this done and we now get done and we now get the support that we need. So we need pressure from the political party, from the opposition, so that people can now catch onto what is happening and begin to add their weight. That is how the check and balance is supposed to work.
Listen. The difference between, I tell you, they're all in cahoots. The difference between them is minimal. They have a lot more in common than they have differences. That's one. Two, as the Chinese said, never let a good crisis go to waste. How many of these politicians not just represent at the representational level, own funeral parlors, own things that are associated that directly benefits from this crisis, right? Like it and the police is a funny thing. Somebody said in the comments, say like, listen, you can't really antagonize the police force because remember, them have the police, them own the police. They own the police. And in Jamaica is basically set up in three set of people have guns. Gunman, license firearm holders, which is less than 50,000 Jamaicans, and the police while they're on the jobs. Right? So it's this generation is screwed. We have to just try to protect the next one.
But just one second. I hear both of you in terms of you saying that both of them are the same, similar. But I will refer to the song by Itana, Wrong Address, because whilst it is politics and we are used to a set of politics in Jamaica, we are used to a politics in Jamaica that corruption is the major thing. We still have corruption in this current government. However, we have a body, which is the Integrity Commission. And we also have people like Mr. Rattigan, Mystic Sensation, Andre Stevens, just to name a few. A lot more people out here having conversation about good governance. We have never seen this in our history. This is unprecedented. However, it's very, very healthy. But I think that we are being a part of the problem if we just say that both are the same rather than, compartmentalizing and applying to who is corrupt, who is doing bad. Because at the end of the day, somebody has to govern the country. And it takes proper education. Yesterday, we were talking about Mr. Hugh Graham. He's a People's National Party's representative. That man hasn't got, I think, one time in a long time that he has been to Parliament. That is wrong, very much wrong. And I believe that by holding them accountable, even just that simple thing as tardiness, Jamaicans will think of that simple thing as tardiness, but it's not simple. We pay these government officials, they ask for 200, 300% increase, and they took it, right? And I believe that it is our responsibility. Our responsibility as a country, as the people of the country, to say that is a free business. And by holding them accountable, then we can get positive result. Because it's just like the Chinaman, he's not going to leave people at his store to let them do whatever they want to. But I believe when we have more conversations about politics, good governance, and then we can create that change that we want. Because we want a change. All of us want a change. I've never voted, and I've done the due diligence to go to the history of both political parties. And I can say they are both sides. They have members have done wrong. It's just like on a team. On a team, you're going to have bad people. But when you look at them for who they are, you can see a clear night and day with both political parties. And we have to start by doing that first, separating the both parties, seeing who is who and what they're doing. And even when we favor a political party, we must ensure that we do it for ourselves and for the generation to come, that we hold them accountable, even if it's a party that you prefer.
Can I ask you a question?
Most definitely.
And I can get no fire for this, but none the same. The politicians in all of this, in this equation that we're talking about, the politicians, to me, they are not the problem. In this equation, the problem lies with us, the people, and forget, I would say people we're using as a whole. We're not talking about the sub pockets that like us who fighting for justice and so forth, but as a whole, right? It's like being in a relationship and you never set any boundaries with your woman, or the woman never set any boundaries with the man, right? You're just going to keep on doing it and doing it and doing it. They are not going to set any boundaries for themselves. They will not. So, and I think we can all agree. Until we get John and Jane public views this as it's important to them and the effect it's having on them, and a party goes in power, we vote based on policy. You didn't do what you say you were going to do. And that's relative to you, because you cannot accomplish what you say you were set out to do, but we can clearly see that you have taken steps and strides to get there, right? Cool. But the problem is we don't recognize our own power in this whole political scheme. So, sir, Mr. Owenless fall flat on him face the first time. We'll get him out. The next person knows, say, yo, are some serious people I'm here. And the next thing is like, I don't know if I'm still doing it, but Party A would institute something that we can clearly see that it's good. And when Party B comes in, their sole mission is to just chop it down. Versus, well, this is working. How can we improve upon it? Everybody wants a solution that is their party aligned, because they want the credit. Versus Jamaicans getting the credit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if we're going to see changes until we as the general populace start holding them accountable. Like literally holding them accountable. There are measures in place that we can, from a legal perspective, take it to them. That's one. Two, the police, remember the police is also helping them to keep safe, because crime is very, to a greater extent, crime is very, you're more susceptible to crime depending upon where you're at versus other neighborhoods. Them feel safe, Them have them license gun, them have them guardsman security, them have them Rottweiler in them yard, automatic gate, camera, police. They always assign a police, right? Them safe. So I don't know what we're gonna have to do.
Yeah.
They're comfortable, and nothing ever comes from a place of nothing. We can never improve when we're coming from a place of comfort. So we have to make them uncomfortable, whether it's through the lack of job security or job security, or that, listen, if you don't do what you say you're gonna do or take steps to do what you're gonna do, we're just gonna vote you out. And Jamaica don't have a history of that. The PNP was in power for what, 18 years straight consecutively. Then now
Yes.
the JLP is in power for the last,
9
let's just roll
years.
it up to 8 years.
9.
9 years?
Yes, going
And
forward.
them don't even call election when it depends on the books that they need to call an election by X time. Them don't even do that.
Right.
But can I say?
So that was one, because I remember when this government is in power, because I don't know who agrees, but I'm gonna say that they articulated very well. They were a very good opposition. They articulated very well
And the former prime minister had a big scandal too.
Well,
at the time.
They articulated very well what some of the policies. For example, one of the policies that was articulated was the term limits. Now, from this prime minister is in power, we have seen nothing. He has said nothing about term limits. He said that one of his policies would have been ensuring that elections were set and term limits were defined. Now that you're in a debating seat, we know you said nothing more about it, and you have not been held accountable. You are now running again for what? 3 term? A 3 term I run for? Ratty?
Man.
This would be the third
how
one.
much term I run for Ratty?
Yeah, because he lost
This would be the third one.
He lost the first one, if
Yeah.
memory serves me correct. But
So
at the
we don't
same
hear
time,
nothing more.
also, you remember Tina Doc, right?
And there are many more policies that he made that we have not seen them. So I'm not politics, no party. I'm talking about the policies that you lay down, the tickets that you run on. When we begin to grade, and say, okay, you articulated very clearly and very well. That's why you got so much vote. Because at least you were able to understand what the problems were, and you articulated them, and you formulated policies that sound good on paper. And when you reach the debating seat, all of a sudden, we don't hear nothing more about the policies. So if there were 10 of them, and we were to grade you, by right, you shouldn't be even eligible for our next election.
But,
You
but
should
I will
not be
make this
eligible.
point.
So, as I said, are we at the problem?
Yeah, we had a problem because think about it.
We are
Think about
allowing
it now.
you tricked us the first time. You got our votes. You didn't fulfill your promises, and we are the same one. We even give you in a lot of them say, if you don't have a ticket, you don't have a chance. How did you end up with a ticket?
Because this is it, Dr. Ben, right? The PNP was in power for 18 years, right? And while the level of overt corruption was less, right? Think about it from a JLP's perspective. 18 years. So scandal after scandal after scandal, albeit we're not on the level, but scandal after scandal where they got away, where we, the public, never held them accountable. The JLP is probably thinking that, listen, we only have a short time here, and then when they get through at whatnot, them just up the ante and dig out where, because trust me, They know them not getting 18 years in power. So them a try take as much as them can. But if we don't, as the general public, put a stop to it, somebody have to get a trash in. It's a child. Somebody have to get a trash in so the others know, say, yo, we're not playing. So no, when the elections are called, if we, the public, vote back the JLP back into power, what we're going to complain about?
You know, when I hear you speak, I heard you said that we are the problem and not the politicians are the problem.
Well, they are, but
Uh,
I was just saying in terms of
Well, they're
people,
representing us.
they're
They're
representing us,
representing us.
but remember this, and I'll never let this slip your mind. Every one of us here serve self-serving purpose. It's just that some people self-serving purpose is for the greater. It just so happens that it's for the greater good of the country, or for it's not just them, right?
but this is
Cool.
what I would say though. When you elect people, you entrust in them that they have a sense of knowledge. So politicians cannot fix our problems. What the duty of a politician, based on understanding, is to provide opportunities so that the general public can take part in to change their whole life and their perspective, how they can contribute to the economy. So you said that Jamaica is not changing, and I will say it is changing right in front of our eyes. How is it changing?
I didn't say they're not changing.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm simply saying is this: if somebody offends you, doesn't matter the relationship, whether if it's a romantic, platonic, business, whatnot. If somebody offends you, whether that's robbing you, taking advantage of you, don't you do something?
100%. And we are
Uh,
doing it right
yeah.
now. We are
No,
having,
yeah, but no, but we're talking about historically. We're talking about historically. We don't know what the future going to hold. We are just assuming that we'll wake up because at the same time,
no, we're not assuming, man.
No. At the same time, Jamaica is a country whereby we're full of talk. It's hype
No.
over substance. So you're gonna find out the people have a problem, and a lot of people gonna be like in the last election, what their action gonna be to
All
not
right.
vote. To
All right.
not vote.
Just one
You said
second.
it yourself, that you are eligible to vote, but you have never voted.
Because I wasn't educated enough. But now I'm educated. So what I'm saying to you though, time gone by, we've never had so much discussions about good governance, right? We have never had so much talk about, we have never got so much information. We are in an information era where
But
we
we have
have
been,
more
but
details to
Sir Mike,
talk about.
we have been in an information era. The only thing
One,
that's
one,
different
one,
is
just a
social
second,
media.
just a
Social
second,
media.
just a second. We have never had this level of discussion about politics and about change, right? Now we're getting this thing. We're getting so much information. Before you can have change, you must get information so that you're empowered. And when you're empowered, then you are able to make changes, right? So having discussion about politics, and now we're able to compartmentalize and we're able to understand in all facets, then that means that we are starting the process of change. The first part of conflict resolution is identifying the problem. We identify the problem, that is corruption, right? And then we have a solution. We come up with a solution. What is the solution? Is educating. And then we go through the process, and then we have a follow-up. The follow-up is the maintenance process, where we can constantly hold leaders accountable now that we know what we're supposed to hold them for, right? And that is how we recognize the power. So if we constantly say that nothing is going to change and both are the same, it will remain just like that. And for the Prime Minister of Jamaica, when I had listened to him, I knew that he never had anything good for Jamaica. Because for progress is something that you can track along the way. but prosperity is a fantasy, a dreamland that somebody sell it to you. So when you hear the Prime Minister going to say to you that he's going to let you sleep with your windows and your door open, you know that that is not a measured or a strategic comment or plan, right? Because we always talk about fighting crime in Jamaica. We cannot fight crime. I'm talking about the root causes of crime are corruption, poverty, and illiteracy. Once you're able to get rid of those three, then you can now minimize corruption. You cannot get rid of corruption totally, but it will minimize it, right? So I believe if we are more focused on these things, then we can get a change. When the Prime Minister also said that he's going to bring big companies to rival JPS when Jamaica get sunshine like 90% of the year, we weren't sold a strategic plan to get us anywhere. So if we are more able to critically think and analyze when our politicians speak to us, then we can make better decisions. Mr. Rattigan, you have something to say?
Yeah, let me just jump in and encapsulate everything that's been said. One of my heroines in Jamaica, Jeanette Calder.
Say the name, please.
She succinctly put everything.
Repeat the name, please, Sir Rattigan.
So what?
Repeat the name of your heroine.
Oh, Jeanette Calder. You'll see her in a second. Second. Because everything that we're talking about, like the point that you were saying, that we are the problem. We are the problem, and therefore we have to be the solution, not the politicians, because we have allowed them to think that they are the bosses. When the truth are we.
Can I ask you a question, Sir Rattigan and Sir Ben? Because you guys are the elder statesmen here, right? Couple of things. My co-panelists mentioned, right? One, we were living in an information age where, in the context of it's easier to get information, right? But say, for example, 1980 elections and all the elections that we would have been too young to really assess and whatnot, right? It almost paints a picture like, say, yo, nobody was campaigning, nobody was talking about policies and so forth. It's just like nothing is new under the sun. So when you say something like we never had access to, when you allude like we never had access to information, I would say that I would counter and say that it's now easier to access the information, but I believe the information was always there, right?
Well,
so you guys don't tell me if.
All right,
you know,
let me
because
give
I
understand
the ease. I understand the ease now. I could never take that away. The ease, anybody can pick up a phone, but just what about the information that is there?
Let me give you an example.
Because culture is a big problem, you know.
Let me give you an example. There is an act called the Access to Information, which is a recent act. And what that act says is that you can petition your government for information, and except for certain areas, you will get that information. Back in the 1980s, that didn't exist. People could do whatever they want to do, and then also you didn't have the presence of social media. So if the government controlled the media, you were being fed whatever the government wants you to be fed. And you never think for yourself, but let me play this. And we want to bring in, and then Chris, I want that's Sean. Oh yeah, Sean. I want you, Sean, and Dr. Ben on to do a little piece on herbs, because I see we're OT put up some things here, because we want to open the phone line. Actually, the phone line open already, but we want to open the phone line and take some questions, because I get some calls. I say, hey, open up the phone line. But I wanted to pay attention to this short piece from a genuine heroine of Jamaica. Here we go.
The other day, I'm not just a citizen of Jamaica.
Oh, I know her.
As a citizen, it's telling you where you belong. I am more interested in looking at this problem through the lens of an owner. It is actually true that all that money in the bank belongs to us. All the government's assets that the Auditor General is talking about, this thing named government, is really the people's. That's the first thing. I'm an owner. The second thing is I have to look at it through the lens, not just of a voter. Yes, Isat, there's an election coming up. That election is actually a hiring mechanism. I am employing 63 public officials who have to step aside, and we have to revisit who. So if I'm employing them, that makes me what? An employer. As an employer, I don't have the responsibility of a voter. A voter has one thing they have to do really almost every 4 to 5 years, dip your finger. But an employer has to be paying attention what? Far more often than that. And the last thing is, I am not just a taxpayer. A taxpayer is the person who Parliament write a law and say, you have to give me this. I see it as I am a financier, because everything that the government is going to do, I am financing it, and I want a return on my money, because that is what a financier wants. So Jeanette and the team at JAMP sees themselves as owners, employers, and financiers. So when I'm a financier and I hear that Barita or whoever is fooling around with my money, I'm going to hold somebody to account. How are the citizens going to do this? How are you going to make your voice heard? There are many ways. And call me the fool that I be, but I've been paying attention to governance in Jamaica for 15 years. And I sat every single time the people of Jamaica lean in and say, it nah go so. It does not go so. So who is really at fault here? Is it the employee, the 63 parliamentarians, or the employers? They are waiting for us to lean in on this matter. And there are several ways to do it. And I'm just going to share with you one way that JAMP has come up with. What people don't understand, and you're young in this thing as a politician, Isat, but I've had politicians, one in particular who has been in this
Teach
a
me.
long time. And I'm afraid to say, I sit down having a drink with him at Acropolis one day. And he said to me, Jeanette, the people think we don't listen enough. We listen and we watch everything. I said, really? Him say, yeah, man. You think we don't watch it? You call a call-in show, we are listening. You write the editor, we are listening. You only think we're not listening. So I'm saying to the Jamaican people, find any way you're comfortable to raise your voice. But JAMP has come up with a way which I think ISAT could be a game changer. And I'd like to ask Will if you could just put.
All right. Folks, she will be on this Saturday. And she's going to talk about JAMP, and she's going to talk about ATI that I just explained to Chris. So,
Yeah.
Chris, give me your impressions of what you just heard.
I believe it she said beautifully what I am saying. And I'm so sorry. What's your name?
Who?
I wasn't there. Yes.
Jamaics.
Jamaics. Yeah. And so Jamaics was saying she kind of, because you said I don't want nobody leaving thinking that I myself give up on Jamaica. Like, the plans I have for Jamaica, and I need it to get better because I need to be back there. You understand what I'm saying? Quite frankly, I live in both places, really and truly. So I'm not just speaking, don't take my words as, oh, it's just a foreigner. I live there also. So I believe that what you said is right. And it's just we are the sleeping giants that need to wake up. We shouldn't have a long argument. The JLP has failed us based on what they have outlined. They have failed us. We'll act accordingly. The PMP going to come up with something. Then whatever we do after this based on what they said they were going to do, what we accepted, and we'll grade them based on that. Culturally, the problem I find too is that a lot of people, not care much policy come out, they're not interested in a policy. Them born comes to the mother labor right, and them dead, and them are gonna build labor right till them dead, and vice versa. And we can't operate in that space anymore. We shouldn't have you shouldn't be able to live a Waterhouse and can't vote JLP because of fear. And you shouldn't live a Tower and can't vote PNP because of fear. And then again, elections aren't really even private, because when you go to the ballot, nobody's not supposed to know what you just vote for. I can vote for Timbuktu and come out and say, yo, I vote for the socialists them, and none should be the wiser. You understand? So I believe that one of the things is that we're in a false sense of holding the politicians them accountable but yet we fail to hold ourselves accountable. Because when it ultimately boils down is we are the problem. If we are going to say that they work for us, and all we do is complain, say them not do what them supposed to do, when we have the power to, okay, you don't serve our needs, bye.
But you say, Chris, one of the things that Jamaica was pointing out was that information wasn't readily available. I think he used the word accessible. And it's true. And that's why you have a program like this. That's why social media is widely successful compared to traditional media in Jamaica.
True.
I mean, if you just look at the numbers, but apart from the numbers,
Hold
if
on,
you
but
look at-
just to rein in your point, how long can we all agree that we have been living in a social media era? Last 10, 15 years? If so much? 15 years? I'll say 10.
I would say 10.
Yeah. Yeah. 2015, yeah?
Yeah, I just about there.
All right. So to be clear, the JLP used that the access to information, as Jamaica said, and basically was able to use that to get in power, right? The PNP now need to utilize it, and what, because to me the PNP still operate on some corrugated politics, you know, right? Like it's all about who can bring the biggest dance, the biggest artist, and whatnot. Nobody not really. I am not privy to, like, when them have them town hall meetings, as Sir Rattigan would do. How much time them spend talking about issues?
They do.
They do. All right,
Yes,
now,
they
cool.
do.
So
But
in reality, it's just the last election we really had the last two elections we really had a chance to. Okay, we have easy access to the information and whatnot. So I just hope the trajectory continues, and we the public realize, listen, we have a voice, and let it be heard.
all right, hold on a second there. We have a caller here. Caller jumped the line, you know, but anyway, go on. Caller, welcome to Come Reasons Rattigan. Talk to us.
Good night, gentle people. Good night, Jamaics and everyone on the platform. Dr.
good night,
Ben.
dear blessing.
Good night to you. Christopher,
Good
still
night.
waiting on your call. I've been returned. I've been calling and getting you. Anyway, this is Jeffrey. You know,
Jeffrey, I returned the call. You didn't answer.
and listen to
Dr.
the
Ben is here as no
conversation and taking
witness.
part in this conversation. We all need to call for constitutional reform.
Yeah.
Demand constitutional reform. Because if we don't, God help this country.
Well,
You see, I tell
Okay,
you something here.
reform.
well, let me ask you a
Wait.
question. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Jeffrey.
Mhm.
Do you mean, when you say constitutional reform, you
Mhm.
mean in the format that
No.
it is now, or are you saying we should repeal and replace? Which one? Is
Yes.
it making changes to the one that we have now, or just getting rid of the one that we have and come with a brand new one?
That's what the one that we have in Riverton.
Okay, then no
Get a new
reform then.
one. The one that they have is an old colonial one.
But
That's
can
the
I
one
ask
we
you a
have in
question?
Riverton.
Can I ask
Because
you a
the
question,
Prime
Sir
Minister
Jeffrey?
went and dig up an 18th century law pertaining to Portmore for parish boundary. Get rid of this old constitution that we have and have a new one. Because if we do not, this one they have, it don't make no sense at all.
Hold on a second. I think Chris wanted to ask you a question.
So
Go
let me
ahead.
ask you a question, right? Now, in terms of constitutional reform,
I'm not
I
hearing him
hear,
at all, Mr. Rattigan.
You know, I
all
hear
right,
him.
in
No.
terms of constitutional reform, I hear what you're saying.
You ask the question. Ask him.
You know, I hear him.
Not a word from him. He's gone and I hear nothing.
All right, then. Sir Rattigan, you tell him when I said.
Okay.
See? So, in
But
terms
he's
of
asking, sir,
constitution,
because I didn't hear him.
Yeah,
all right.
hold on, Jeffrey. Go ahead.
So, my thing is this. Instead of just saying, yeah, we want dash what the current system, but I would say yes, but let's look at the current system and see, because there must be good parts to it too. You get what I'm saying? Try to take the good parts of what that is there and move forward from there. You understand? But then again, let's have a conversation about what does constitutional reform looks like. Does that mean we still under England, or we move towards a republic?
All right.
You understand? So instead of we just saying constitutional reform, let's just pan out to John public what a constitutional reform would look like.
All right. Jeffrey is saying that for reform, what we should do is take the good parts out of it, fling with the bad, and also what does constitutional reform, what is it going to look like? What's your response to it?
Well, the only thing we can take out of the constitution they have now is the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedom. Have that. We just have that in there. But the other rest, dash away. Makes no sense. It's an old Westminster system that we have. To me, the whole when I have reform, I think what we need to do when it comes to reform is that we have the people to have something to say. Let the constitution be based on the people. We the people. The constitution cannot be based on politicians and their favorite few. It has to be based on we the people. Let the people have more power, let the people have more say. Just like the American Constitution. In a way, let the people themselves have more say. We can't have a ceremonial head. The president must be appointed by the prime minister. It cannot be. Once and for all in our lives, we must elect a person who we want. We must elect a president of the people, for the people, and by the people. We don't want no ceremonial head. It can't continue like this where we have the Gigi, all the Gigi do, is going on and cut ribbons and that's all they do. And get taxpayers' money. We need to elect somebody. The people of Jamaica have never elected Prime Minister Owners as Prime Minister.
You know something, Jeffrey? Hold on a second. You know what I found? Well, actually, it came across my desk, but I saw it again today. Apparently, the Governor General is not subject to the Integrity Commission Act, so he no submit no statutory declaration. I'm above that. So,
there you go. So okay. So in other words, then, if we have this old constitution and put the GG, the current GG as president, that means that he's above the law same way again. It makes no sense. Yeah. It makes absolutely no sense. Right. And we must demand accountability, we must demand the change that we seek. Enough of me talking now. Chris, give me a call, man. I've been calling. Give me a call. Dr. Ben, look like you want to sleep anyway. Good night.
Good night. You know, my dilemma is, and maybe I definitely I'm gonna look out for the program because it sounds as if she has a path, a chartered path for somebody in the position that I'm in, because I believe that every citizen have a responsibility to vote. My dilemma is that the present government has not done what they're supposed to do, and so I don't think I think they have failed. They have been given the chance and they have failed so far. So they shouldn't even be given a ticket to have a chance. But on the other hand, I don't believe that so far that the other option has articulated enough. The policies that would represent or warrant my support. I don't see policies representing policies that would warrant a change. I don't believe that they are. Maybe it's too late. That they are doing a good enough job in terms of representing. I mean, I'm talking about me, in terms of representing the interests of the people. And so I think there's still time, but there needs to be more in terms of holding this government accountable, because you being the official opposition of the country, one of the things that you have on your side is that your job is, if you are not being taken serious, if the attention, if enough attention is not being given to what you are presenting, you know what you have? You have the disgruntled people whose support you can get. And that is what you should be doing. You should be representing the people, so much so that if, for example, you raise an issue, if you all like what Ratty, like at this point, the politician that is being paid, that is not coming to work, shouldn't Ratty highlight that. It should be a department within the opposition that is bringing that to the forefront of the Jamaican people. This is what you should be saying as the opposition. Listen, people who are peerman and in now come work. If the government is not taking it serious, then this is where you, if you know how to play your card good, you get you get the disgruntled people, because remember, you know, a lot of people are already disgruntled now. So your job is to, and it would be easy to get these bag of people to support a call to a call to action for that person. When people now see you acting in their best interest, it's automatic. You just walk in and take over.
You see, Doc, one of the things they say is that we have become complacent over the years. We're pretty much like trained seals because the information is now readily available.
Right.
You can go to JAM's website and look up any politician and look at their attendance record. Any politician in Jamaica, in a parliament. It's there.
Yes.
But how many people are actually accessing that information?
And again, as I'm saying to you, if the common man is not doing it, if you are the official opposition, this is where you should shine, because being opposition, you look for something to oppose. And when you find those areas, this is where even if the average person not do it, I don't know if it do it, you who understand the runnings of politics should be representing that.
Well, I've made the argument, and I'll submit to you that when you say opposition, who are the opposition members? For me, the opposition, the people that we call opposition, parliamentarians, PNP members, they're actually part of the government. They're actually part of the government. If you look at the structure put up by the government, it shows that you have King Charles, you have the Governor General, and then then the next step, the next level is the executive, legislative, and the judiciary.
Yes.
And in the legislative, you have the Senate and you have the House of Representatives. Who are the people in the Senate?
Even though they are part of the government. So here's the argument I make. I make it just like Janet Calder said, that we are also part of the opposition. If you're going to name people as opposition, we the people
that is it.
Also part. So we have a role to play, and this is what we're doing right here, right now.
Right.
Yes, opposition.
Yeah, we're educating people.
Right. But remember, none of us here will be elected. So there's a responsibility that the elected persons have that we don't have. That's where they're different from us. So we are in right. But the fact that they're in government, they also hold a position of being the representative. They're in representative politics. So they have a responsibility, and I will continue to hold them accountable, because even though I can be a part of the opposition, I'll never run for an office. They are the ones running for the office. So their responsibility, the expectation of them is a little bit more than the expectation of me and you.
Well, here's how I look at it. I look at it like, I now watch what them are doing now. I just know where I have to do. Because if I watch what them are doing, I might get dissuaded or I might get inspired.
No, but I have to vote. And so the options are, I have to vote.
Right. But what I say, as a voter, I see where you're coming from.
Yes, I have to vote.
Yeah, I'm not a voter.
And I want to vote.
Right. So what I do, I look at it in terms of, okay, what's best for the Jamaican people? How can I help my fellow man and woman? Right? How can I help them to understand what's going on? Because I preach it day in, day out, that look, my job here is to hold government accountable, and I do so by making you an informed voter, making you a critical thinker, so that when they tell you, whatever they tell you, you can assess it for yourself and look yourself in the mirror and say, listen, these issues that we're discussing, they're affecting me, my family, my community, and by extension, Jamaica. And regardless of party affiliation, I have to do what is right.
Right.
What that comes down to, it comes down to facts. That's what it comes down to, not emotions. And for we are emotional voters, you know. Boy, my mother vote like my father, blah blah blah. And we don't stop and think and say, but wait a minute, hold on a second. this thing when I'm talk about, how am I going to benefit from it? How will my family benefit from it? How will my community benefit from it? We need to start expanding our thought process. First of all, we need to start thinking. Then we need to expand it, because it's more than just a color or a party. This is about policies affecting people. And until we reach that stage, I mean, if you think about it, we're juvenile in the way we approach politics. Very juvenile the way we approach politics. Because I see some people at some of the conferences, them, watch a couple of the JP conferences, and I see some people there, me know some of them people don't know where the next meal come from. Me know them don't know it. And them up there, yeah. And the man the people tell them all kind of garbage, prosperity, and this and that and that. And I say, people, hold them accountable. Like what Chris has said, hold them accountable. And again, Saturday we can tune in, because we're going to pick up on that and make Janet explain how we can go about holding them accountable. Jam, they have established one way, which is the letter writing thing, which they established the letter. You just go in and click a few buttons and then them send them out, because they're getting responses. So
exactly.
Sure.
It's fine when we have what we should do from what we shouldn't do, but the enforcement of it, it's just not being enforced. And I don't know if it's because, you and I are cool, so when you do something wrong, I based on the relationship, I'm afraid to upbraid you or whatnot. But like, in terms of, you have the opposition, you have the who in power, but there has to be a mechanism in place that nobody has oversight on them, and their mission is to enforce these rules. Because even if there is such a thing right now in the current political landscape, we can all agree that it's not being enforced. There's too many cases of corruption. There's too many cases of people getting caught literally with them hand in the cookie jar, and we don't see a prison sentence, or if there is any prison sentence, it's so light that it really has no. I mean, if I rob $1 million and you're going to tell me that I'm going to charge you $10,000, that's not an incentive for me to not rob. Because that's $990,000 profit,
Right.
and a $10,000 charge, and a $10,000 fine, and no prison time, and and all of these things. It's just.
And that's why you need to tune in this Saturday, because guess what? Another strong, courageous, intelligent black woman will be addressing that issue. Not Janet Calder, Rosalia Hamilton. She going to talk about how the system itself is so corrupt that even if you go inside it with regardless of intentions, once you start, you have to be a Serpico. You have to be, and then if you become a Serpico, you become an outcast, right? So it's like you go and get all of that this Saturday, people. You go and get all of that. Let me just quickly switch to something that is very topical still and just heartbreaking. The Police Federation, in their infinite wisdom, decided that they're not going to fund the real chairman, Ron James's legal battle any longer. Now, people think about this and think about how draconian, how wicked this is. This is a man who represented, because now they put somebody else there, but this is a man who represented approximately 96% of the JCF, rank and file. The court and the people were not being paid overtime on time. They went to court, and the judge gave them 1 year to establish and digitize a system where people could get their money on time and get and there would be an accurate accounting. A year came and went, and by the way, the current police commissioner, him the tech guru, I'm the tech guru. Chairman Ron James didn't have to do this, and him could have just sit down there, collect him money, turn a blind eye to it, move on with him life. But him said, no, this is wrong. This is wrong. He stood up, he fought to the point where he must have called them out. Then what did they do? They removed the man. Then he had to go to court, and a court reinstalled him. Then they went to the appeals court, and they said, no, move him. And so now he's appealing. All of this for the benefit of the rank and file member. And the people them turned around and decided we not pay him legal bill going forward. So now them left him out there now to do what? To do what? This is how evil and wicked and corrupt these people are. That the man, and I'm surprised me lose half of the federation members them. I'm surprised that they would even take a vote and decide that we're not going to pay no more legal bills, fees for him. So essentially, what the matter is stop him from going forward. Come on for pay him lawyers them. They must stop him from going forward. This is the type of government. So when people said to me, well, you know, let me just put my 2 cents in about the comparison. The question I ask people when them say, well, you know, the PNP and the JLP are the same thing. I ask them, the PNP, as presently constituted in Parliament, are they in charge of spending? Do they have the numbers to spend? Are they government? Government in the sense that them are run the country. And the answer is no. I said it's only 14 of them. So I need to understand now how you can make a valid comparison. 14 versus 49. That's 63. How you make a valid comparison? Because of the 14 that are there presently, I don't believe every single one of them was in government, as in PNP-led government. A lot of them, but I don't know if all of them. But here's the thing. It's only 14 of them. They have never led a government. So when people said to me, and I'm not defending Mark Golding, because I have my criticism about all of them, everybody. Because nobody's perfect. Just like how people have criticism of me have criticisms of people too. I'm not here to defend him, but Mark Golding has never been prime minister. Mm-hmm. So when somebody tried to compare Mark Golding to Prime Minister Andrew Holness, I think it's a false comparison. I don't see it. Mm-hmm. He has never been. Make him become prime minister, then you can start making the comparison and say, well, you know, when Mr. Holness was there, this is what he did and blah, blah, blah. And now Mr. Golding is there and this is what he's not doing, blah, 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 blah. But I don't see, I cannot make that comparison in my mind. I can't. 49 versus 14. And then the candidates that they will field, them have the 14 we are going to run and we'll come up with another 49. Of the 49, the overwhelming majority of them have never been in parliament. They've never been in parliament. So it's so like Mike was saying, you have to look at individuals as opposed to looking at a party. Because what you have right now in parliament is a fraction of a party. Mm-hmm. Not faction. Let me be clear about that. It's a fraction, right? So I mean, I just cannot see that comparison. Maybe I have it wrong. Maybe I have it wrong, and I'm open to being fully corrected. Maybe I have it wrong. Panelists, talk to me. What want to say?
Well, you know, when I listen to us speak, I see that we keep talking about the problem, and when I hear us saying that is the people is the problem, and I would say it's not the people that is the problem, is ignorance, the lack of knowledge. And again, I'm going to go back to say that we are blessed to live in an era where we have an abundance of information, which can be too much. But, you know, we have very good information coming out. And I use the song as Wrong Address of Etana when we keep saying that both political parties are the same thing. Mr. Rattigan, you have highlighted that the 14 members of the opposition is different from the 49 members of the ruling side of the government, right? And The candidates are different. And when I look, I study communication. So we know that 7% is verbal, what you say, 38% is vocal, how you say it, and 55% is non-verbal, the action. And when I look at these members of the GLP party and the members of the PNP party, I listen to them, and I will have to say to the Laborites to raise your words and not your voice. Because when I listen to them speak, the Prime Minister, for example, he spoke for 2 minutes, 33 seconds. I was listening to it today, and he said bad mind 6 times. His way to communicate with the public, he said bad mind, gal them bubblegum. He says, what else? Radam. When you use these type of when you use this type of words to have conversation with the public, it shows that you don't respect the public. You understand? That is how I look at it. When I look at the GLP members, the level of conversation that they have is totally different when you look at a Dr. Andre Orton that is leading science, technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. And it's not just people saying things. When a person can explain to you so that you can understand things, and you know that these people are able to lead you. When you look at a Damian Crawford as education minister, you can understand what he's saying to you. A Dayton Campbell is talking about agriculture, you can understand, and so on and so forth. When I listen to the House of Parliament, the sitting government, when you listen to each of the member of parliament, you cannot learn from them. It's not a joke. And this is why I say it is a responsibility of the Jamaican people to listen to these people and be critical thinkers, rather than to say that both are the same when you don't listen to the individuals. If you don't understand the individuals, then you won't understand where you will go under their leadership. And I said that the onus is on us, full business, right? Given that it's our business, we have to ensure that we know what our employees are doing. So that responsibility is on us, rather than to say both are the same.
And you know what, Jamaicans? One second, Chris. Jamaicans, I'm glad you mentioned that about what they say, and then you have to look at what they do. And also, you mentioned the thing about us being critical thinkers, that we're not just depending on them spoon feeding us ideas. And here's the reason why we shouldn't depend on them spoon feeding us ideas.
I've always said to people, do not trust the words of politicians. Do not trust the words of politicians.
That's why we shouldn't do it.
That's right.
We need to be critical thinkers. We don't want them to think for us. Because here's a politician telling you, don't trust us.
Exactly.
Don't trust us. And what we do? We trust them.
We trust them.
But I think now that based on what you just said, Jamaica, it seems to me that the GLP have a strategy, they have a plan, and this is it. So before they came into power, they articulated very well what they believe people want to hear. They articulated very well the policies. They articulated one, and they also took advantage. So there are two major groups of people in Jamaica. They are the critical thinkers. They articulated very well policies and so on to get the well-thinking persons to support them. Then they know that there are some persons who are not well-thinking, but it's like they're like slang, and they go with
Grassroots.
the grassroots, right?
Rather.
And then they say, okay, when they go into power, because they know, they can't say nothing to the art to appeal to the articulated, because it's but the articulated are in a minority. They know that if they were to be graded based on the policies and based on that they highlighted and the change that they're going to make, they know that they would fail. So what they're doing, based on what you just said, what they're doing is just simply trying to appeal to the grassroots people, or they are seeking to, in politics, if it's possible if you're in politics to use the right music that's in tune, to get the right entertainer, to get the public persons that carry the culture, it's possible for you to get high numbers.
But I can
Presently,
challenge you on that, Mr. Ben.
that is what they're doing right now.
Hold on a
But
Because
second.
mhm,
No,
but
no,
I
no.
could
Please
challenge
continue.
that, Mr. Ben, and to say that if you listen to the JLP party within the
mm,
pandemic,
mm.
you their manifesto, both their manifesto and their message, you could see that they did not articulate themselves well. If you listen to their plan, you could see clearly through them that it did not make any sense. First thing,
Well, they made enough sense to win. So so
33
so so
point.
so whether you and I agree, the fact is that it was what got them into seat. So it is from that standpoint that I'm talking. Not to say whether it was true or it was clear enough. It was done well enough to get them to win and to get them to win the
I
numbers.
believe that the Prime Minister took advantage of the Jamaican people. Why I say that?
Mm,
In the last election, 37.8% of the people voted,
mm,
right? He called the election 1 year before it was constitutionally due.
mm,
He saw that there was a numerical advantage, and
mm,
he took advantage of that. I heard I think it's Shane I talk about the digital era. We
mhm,
were in the digital era. He used the artist for dub
mhm,
plates, right? He
mhm,
preyed on the Jamaicans' vulnerability in
mhm,
terms of fear, right? He was the same man who told them to turn of them yard, tell Jamaicans to turn of them yard. I did not vote, right? He said turn of your yard, and then when he saw that there was an advantage, he called the election, putting people's life at risk. Yeah, and he knew that a lot of people wouldn't come out at that time and vote. So he knew what he was doing. It was a calculated risk, and he knew that he would have won. And what he said that the Ministry of Health advised him against nomination day because it would cause a spike. Then he
mhm.
came back and said to the Jamaican people that it was the people in the corner shop that raised the COVID case, the one where I buy the pound and a half of chicken back, 2 pound of rice, and big jelly oil. So when these things were being said, if people listen properly, because what he did was to know that yes, people stay in and they want to be entertained. So that is the reason why he called the election at that time. And they were already ahead when it comes on to technology. So what they did is they occupy the social media space. And when you see something over and over, it becomes the norm, it becomes a popular thing. He knew that Jamaicans like entertainment over
Yeah,
information.
yeah.
So we never got any proper information. The manifesto made no sense. The messaging from the party makes no sense. It was about the clerks and it was about the music, which he bashed after. So when we see the artists coming out these days, it is not a dub plate that they're using because the artists are also Jamaicans who are feeling that the country is in a crisis. And when you see the artists come out and saying something now are standing against corruption, standing against a government that have tricked the Jamaican people, then you will know that there's a difference in the mindset of Jamaican people. We are having more conversation about governance, and I would say to every and anybody in Jamaica, know your candidates, know what they stand for, know their education, know what their background is like, and I have done the due diligence with those people. I've never voted again. Before I started speaking about politics or thinking to want to take part in politics in terms of voting, I ensured that I went to the root of the politics. I went to know who Bustamante is. When he did the Coral Garden massacre, right? And he said, "Give us saltfish over education." I found out who Michael Manley is, his philosophy, his understanding. He said, "You must study," right? And he also he set up systems in order for Jamaica to have structures. So I look at a leader who who is saying that we need saltfish over education on one hand, who have analyzed a lot of Rastamen, right, versus somebody who talks about education, ensure that Jamaica got money from the backside companies, and then we move up to the other leaders. So I believe that the Jamaican people should take the time out to educate themselves about the past of the political atmosphere and not just use one a big paintbrush, but actually go in depth and understand the different intricacies and know how to differentiate propaganda from what is facts. We
Let me
have
ask you
the
a question.
opportunity.
Sorry, I thought you were finished. Let me ask you a question, Jamaics. In your
Go straight
opinion,
ahead,
right?
please.
Having done the research on the political parties and so forth, right?
Mhm.
How do I say this? The JLP has been pretty consistent in terms of what, based on what Bustamante said to the Siaga era to now, right? They've been pretty consistent. My question to you is this, and when I say consistent, people, please don't come for me thinking that I mean that
I
stuff.
understand what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, I just like it
Neglecting
to the commentary.
education, right?
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Now, and quote me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the PNP, is it a fair assessment to say that the PNP by and large is living off the legacy, the works of Michael Manley, right?
Mhm.
Versus 2025, and that's the issue after him. What do you think, in your estimation, that they're living up to that legacy?
I would say absolutely not.
Okay.
The different prime minister have their own legacy. When you
Mhm,
talk about PJ Patterson and what he has done, you're
mhm.
talking about the JUTC, the Jamaica Urban Transit, right? You're talking about RADA. You're talking about the Petrocarib deal with Venezuela to make electricity cheaper. We had a lot of infrastructure through that. So based on research, you will see these things. When you come onto the only female prime minister that we have had so far, Portia Simpson Miller, you have to think about the period of degrowth, the period between 2011 to 2014, where when the IMF normally start their meeting, they normally say, as Jamaica sink as yet are gone under, because they believe that we were about to crash. And under her guidance and also Dr. Peter Phillips, we were able to reform the Jamaica economic system. Don't take my word for it. You can go and research. The rest of the world look at that period and call it an economical miracle. And out of that, we got the epoch, right? The epoch is to ensure that we don't go over the guideline and destroy our economy anymore. You understand? And that is what caused the debt to GDP to be going down now. So when the incumbent party, the Jamaica Labour Party, came into power in 2016, they inherited an economy where the GDP was already going down. And again, don't take my word for it. Go and do your research as well. Because if you research, you're informed, you're empowered, and you make changes. I never knew of this until about a couple months ago. I had to inform myself of these things because I never knew it either. So what I say, the only way that we can change governance, and let me tell you, even though I support the People's National Party right now, I look at what's going on in the political atmosphere, and I'm disappointed in a lot of things, especially with you, Graham, him not coming to 15% of the time he's showing up for work. That is not good, whether you're green or orange. When I look at Miss Dalrymple going back to the House of Parliament and I see PNP representative embracing her, that is not something that I look at and say that is good. And I believe that the Prime Minister not signing the Ethics Code of Conduct, which was presented to him in 2022, and that his statutory declaration cannot be certified, I don't believe that any politician should be sitting down in the House of Parliament with him. I am disappointed with that, but the process of politics are the House of Representatives. But I look at these things and I say that there are many troubles in Jamaica, and we are the ones who need to be educated about our business and educated about our employees so that we can hold them accountable. Because if we don't know how to hold them accountable, we will continue saying both of them are the same thing.
All right. I stand corrected. So basically, based on what you're saying, right? Even though each individual prime minister, they created a niche legacy, right? But based on what you're saying, it all seems to boil down back to infrastructure. So the PNP has a legacy of investing in the infrastructure. However, we want to grade them, right?
And the human capital.
And the human capital, infrastructure and the human capital, right?
Mhm.
And especially considering if I remember certainly correct, when the Honorable PJ Patterson, when he got us off the IMF scenario, because we already know to get money from IMF or the World Bank, it's good in the short term, but we know long term the detrimental aspects of it because you're not allowed to really invest back into infrastructure and human capital, as you say, right?
Mhm.
So to me, based on what you have said, even though they have carved out their individual legacies, for the most part, their policy seems to embody a mission of infrastructure and human capital. Now, they say that there's another possible pandemic on the horizon, right? I don't remember, it's a variation of the coronavirus and so forth, right? It's just all right. What are we going to do other than having these conversations and whatnot? Jamaics, what is your opinion in terms of what else can be done to educate the people with an intention to go out and vote?
I would say more advocacy as we are doing now. We are advocating for information and education because you cannot force a person and say vote for green or orange. You must be comfortable and strategic enough to educate people. And when you educate somebody, they will go out and make a better choice
Mhm.
than them not being educated. In terms of thinking about the pandemic or things to come, what I believe that we must think about is food security. We must make agriculturalists out of many Jamaicans. We must go back to planting. As Michael Manley said, it was 1972 that he said, eat what you grow and grow what you eat. So if we cultivate a mindset where we are respecting our farmers and we're educating our farmers and putting science, technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship within the agricultural sector, then we can now think about food security, innovative practice like hydroponic, aquaponics. And when we do that, then we are able to supply the demand. And we need to have greenhouses because we have to think about hurricane because we're in a hurricane prone area. And when we do that produce, when we have our produce, what we are going to think about is cold storage because we must be able to store our plants, our food. We have to think about science. We have to think about solar energy, how to capture the solar energy, store it, and then redistribute. So we have to think about self-sustainability in our country. And once we are able to educate the people's mind, we need to educate people with a focus or an aim in mind. Because at this time, I think that we're educating people in an improper way. So it's like putting the pipe, a cup underneath the pipe, and you turn on the pipe and it is overflowing. We are overflowing our country with teachers, nurses, doctors. That is the reason why the expertise leave the country, right? And when a person leave the country, it's not just the body, it's the years of experience, is that expertise that you cannot just replace. So I believe that strategically educating our people to fit in areas to improve in whether it be security, agriculture, education, all of these things, we must strategically educate people for that so that we can have efficiency to boost productivity.
Let me just say that I get some text messages that Dr. Ben, Chris, and Sean, people ask one to them herb lessons.
All right. So
well, as you know, that's why I've been so quiet.
I wanted to, yeah. So
you want to transition into that?
We have them.
Yeah, because we have to open the phone line. So if you can just go through the things and where you get OT, and then we can open the phone, and then people, the herb questions, we can push them to
yeah. So we have some herbs that I wanted to bring to the forefront, but these are herbs that are predominantly good for the digestive system. So people who have digestive disorders, stomach acidity, acid reflux, these are some of the herbs that we're looking at tonight. They are basically in two groups, what we call carminative herbs, which are herbs that help to calm like an upset stomach. And then we have stomach ache, which are herbs that help to deal with the stomach hurting you. So they are basically, because for the stomach, there are a number of herbs, but the three main ones, we're going to look at two. Maybe next week, Chris, we can look at the other one. Then you have laxatives. But we're going to look at two groups of them. Carminatives, which are herbs that help to calm upset stomach. And then we have what we call stomach aches, which are herbs that help with stomach pain. So we can put them up.
OT?
I didn't send them. Yeah, man, I sent them.
I want them.
The email.
OT. What am I thinking? Right, that's all. No, shut.
Yeah. They're in the email, not on the WhatsApp.
Yeah, check the email.
Or if you want me to send them.
But you turn on the phone. Somebody does ask about phone number. But just keep in mind that as soon as the herbs come up, we'll open the phone line. But as soon as the herbs come up,
oh, she's saying Doctor didn't send them. Okay, I see. She asked. I thought for me it's always easy to send them. Well, not easier, but I thought that you would prefer them through
See number there, no people. 667-369-8569. The line open. You can call. Ask about any subject under the sun, the moon, and the stars. Anything. We have the expertise here. We can't answer anything. If we can't answer, the one thing we can't promise is we're going to answer everything tonight. Some of the questions you might get smart with some of your questions, and we have to answer them next week. But we are going to answer all questions asked. Not necessarily tonight, but we are going to answer all questions asked. The phone line open. All of you who that text me and say, yo, open the phone line. The phone line is now open. 667-369-8569. We're waiting on you to call.
So I send them by WhatsApp, OT. I thought
all right.
On my email. I send them, just send them by WhatsApp.
Caller, good night. Welcome to Reason with Rattigan. Where are you calling from?
Philadelphia, Mr. Rattigan. Good night.
Miss Philadelphia, how are you?
Good night.
I'm here.
All right, talk to me. What's on your mind tonight?
Okay, I have one question first for Dr. Ben. I'm gonna give ask that question, and then I have something to address.
I'm going to transfer the question to because apparently my system popped
up.
So
the question is to Dr. Ben. Good night, panelists, everyone. Good night, gentlemen.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay. Doc, good night. Again.
Good night. Good night.
Now, we know in our Jamaican term the thing we call gas, right? And I'm asking Dr. Ben this question specifically because the other day I had a pain in my left arm, to the muscle part there. And it was so terrible. The pain, no matter what I did, it could not go. Then I realized that it is gas pain. So I did a couple other things and make sure I eat on time and drink more warm things. And then it eventually go away. So Dr. Ben, why when someone has gas, it gives you pain in any area of your body? Why does this happen? Why you have pain with gas? And then when I drank more warm tea and so on, I just keep belching until eventually I didn't feel it. But it was there for over a month. So that's for Dr. Ben.
So think of
Mr. Rattigan, I have a few things to say. Regarding Bolt's lawyer. Now,
no, caller, hold on. Take the answer from Dr. Ben and then
call back.
Yes, because we might have some other callers. So what I suggest you do is hang up now, listen to the question from Dr. Ben, and then you can call back. You don't mind.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Right. So think of something that is not supposed to have pockets of air, having pockets of air. So our blood vessels not supposed to have that. So once you have that pocket of air, it's going to cause inflammation. So it's like we're like a closed system that is not supposed to have pockets of air in it. And so when you don't eat on time, you have pockets of air developing, and those pockets of air can travel throughout the body, and so that is the reason why they cause discomfort. That is why when you rub them, or they move until you basically pass out that air, then the pain goes away. So that's what causes the pain.
All right, another caller here. Caller, good night. Welcome to Conversations Rattigan. Where are you calling from?
Good night, Ratty. I'm in my Miss P.
Miss P.
Jamaica.
Talk up the things. Good night.
Yeah, you know what about me tonight?
What? Well, you have gas pain?
No, man. Oh, no pain, man. Me fix my thing. Me easy, man. Me all asleep. Thanks to Dr. Ben. Big up on it.
Good.
But one thing rest for me. Our son, man, Usain Bolt. I mean, I divert from your topic of that class. What hurt me?
Hold on a second, Miss B. Hold on. You're not divert. Ask anything you want to ask, man. That's the format for the program. Ask anything.
Yeah. What really hurt, and it cut from flesh to bone marrow, is that the DPP, Marlon Morgan, and the rest of them, I treat Usain Bolt like him do something wrong. And the DPP, you're a liar, Mr. Rattigan, you're a liar. I can't tell about public, that's how we know. We don't say nothing about Usain Bolt and the money and this and that. What are you telling me? That our little island becomes a tyranny? We so have to get padlock for our mouth, have them all cut off with our tongue when we chat too much. And I'm saying this to Bolt. But why you seeing St. Leo Bolt? I don't know you personally. I meet you one time, but long time. As a mother, you could be my son, you could be my nephew. Please, get rid of the liar where you have. All of them. Get rid of them. Spin a new page. It's alleged that you're liar and such man wanted a big liar when name call every minute. A friend at them, it's alleged that them defend the JDF and so. So all they have you seeing is in a circle and I pretend like them are work and then I walk. Because me no go to school, me think go school much. But don't tell me say a liar where I get paid. In a case like this, sit down comfortable till 2 years. And if you black at them, then take up Usain Bolt. God go with him. No, me no feel say nothing can go so. Me believe a liar is a person who you get to fight your case, no matter what kind of case. You get him to represent you. If you feel you go further, you appeal or whatever. But that is the role of a liar, to defend you. So me no see why you have him pay money. You lose too much money already and still pay. Me not doing nothing. and make a deep dive. Him is in the web and a quiet. Then in the web, you see and send your board, change them, shake them off of you, take up your family out of Jamaica and find yourself in one foreign country and stay over there and fight the case over here. Because they will target you and know, say, you drive the car there, and when you run up now one trailer, and you got a mystery. Me I warn me, I tell you, take up your family and take away yourself and stay there and find your case out there. And if they can't find your cash, make them liquidate where they have a sell you and give you it. That's my 2 cents.
All right, Miss B.
And I'm Paula Llewellyn. I don't know if you ever give birth. I don't know if you ever get pregnant. I know the joy to give that birth. But I can tell you, when death knock on your door, you're going to run. And that's what I'm not ready for you yet, man. You're going shrink. You're going dead and your breath still a blow. You're going rotten and breath still in you. How no cruel, no wicked, no have money, and your money can't help you. No. I know a lady when I saw her go. They said the woman big and weigh 300 pounds. And I live as a child to see that woman come down to about 30 pounds for a bag what name is come up. He is a dead and he's not dead. When the woman walk and he's dead, you see him gone and he's stuck out. And he have one heap of money and property. But he couldn't help him because they said the amount of wickedness when do. That's so. We're not going to fear her. Come back at class.
All right, Miss B.
Yeah.
You know, this idea with the DPP saying that people shouldn't talk is absolute stupidity. It just shows how incompetent this lady is, and I'm being nice when I say that, because you have a case and you'll tell the public for sure you have the evidence. The public now have the evidence. You know where you have. So why you tell the public mustn't talk about it? How that going to affect your case? Them don't know where you have. People are speculate, and people may get a fact over here, a fact over there, and start make some connections. But it has nothing to do with your presentation of the case. None. Present your case. I think what Shadow shall try to line up for failure. They say,
There you go.
people talk and this and this is absolute nonsense with this lady. And in truth and in fact, she should not be in that position. She should have been suspended. Well, we found out that GLC can't really suspend a government attorney, but them shall take some action against her anyway. And by the way, the Services Commission, January 9th, I send a letter, a note, ask Uno and say, I want Uno to tell me what is the procedure to file a complaint against the DPP. When we write me back, must say January 10th, a day later, and say, we will get back in touch with you. In February, we're there right now. And even after no get back in touch with me, about 3 weeks later, I wrote and said, listen, write to on January 9th, and respond the 10th. Here I'm writing again. I'm trying to figure out what is the procedure, because I'm not about to write something and send to and have to sit down on it and say, oh, it's a wrong procedure. This is not how we do it. So I want you to tell me, because me not stop with this DPP here. Me not stopping. The GLC go on with them thing. We're gonna put up the documents them Saturday. But Services Commission, they have a role to play. And they might try dodge me out and I want to tell me the procedure. But we will get there. We'll get there. But DPP, don't worry, man. Enjoy it at last, because we're not stopping. And when we say we are coming after you, not physically. We're not trying to harm you physically. We're coming after you procedurally. We're coming after you based on the things that you've done and the things that you didn't do. And the fact that you're still sitting there making decisions. You have no right to be in that position making decisions. None whatsoever. And another thing too is that when we talk about comparisons of party and whether what is the opposition doing and who's the real opposition, we haven't heard anything about an appeal. We We have not heard anything about appeal for get rid of the DPP.
Yes.
We need to find out whether who's it, Mr. Bunting,
Mr.
and
Bunting
Philip Palwell.
and Philip Palwell.
Yeah, we don't hear nothing more. And there's a certain time limit within which you file your appeal, otherwise you're barred. And we don't hear nothing unless it's going on and it's not being reported. But I haven't seen anything in the public space. I haven't seen anything in the media about an appeal of the appellate court's decision to reinstate the DPP. Because the need for do this, you can't take up a fight like this and just lay down. You cannot take up a fight like this and lay down. You must have known that, hey, listen, at least should have planned that once we take up this fight here now, we are going to see it through the very end.
The long game.
Yeah. We are going to see it through the end. And them win the first round. And the first round, them win.
Yes, they
and
did.
They appeal. And then the second round, them say, no, reinstate her. And then we don't hear nothing more from them. So Mr. Bunting and Mr. Paul, well, who want to know?
Yeah.
What is the plan?
Makes sense.
Yeah, what is the plan? Because we start up this fight and everybody has support, you know. And then the appeals court said, no, she have to go back in. And then we don't hear nothing from you know. If
it's an embarrassment.
Yeah, if we don't need money, make we know so we can do a fundraiser or something like that. But we can't just leave this out there like that. And this is why the role that we play is so important, so pivotal. Because who talk about that? Nobody talk about it. And I say, I talk about the appeal. Nobody's speaking about the illicit six. Who's talking about it these days? Nobody not talk about it.
That's true.
Nobody.
That's why I believe that the protest is necessary. It's imperative that we have a protest because Jamaicans think that if you sit on your couch, if you stand at somewhere, you're fixing the problem. And I don't believe that you're fixing the problem that way. Your talk must marry action, and it's only through actions then we're able to get anything accomplished.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I call a good night. Welcome to Come Reasons, Rattigan. Where are you calling from?
Hello, good evening, Mr. Rattigan. I'm calling from California.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, so I have a question and I have a couple of comments. Right?
Start with the comments first and ask the question last.
Question first or comments first?
No, question last. And then you can hang up after that and then you wait for that and get the answer.
Okay, so in leading off the comment, have you guys heard about the law of diminishing returns?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Stop government.
Say again?
Yeah, we don't hear about it. We know about it.
Yeah, so that's what's happening in Jamaica, because what happened in Jamaica is an anomaly, right? You have full employment and you have a recession. That defy the laws of economics, right? You have full employment, the economy should be booming, right?
Hold on a second. Let me stop you there. There's no full employment in Jamaica. And I know you're being facetious. I know you're being, but we need to get this out to our family members who hear it and they don't know that, you know, you're being facetious. There's no such thing in Jamaica right now as full employment. The unemployment rate in Jamaica at a minimum is 6%. At a minimum is 6%. Let me tell you that. And we're going to show on Saturday. I'm going to show an interview where they try to get the statin to say that the 3.6 unemployment rate that Jamaica is experiencing right now is the lowest it's ever been in history. And what happened? The lady said, no, can't do that. It's a two completely different system we are using. We started that system in January of 2024. And as a result, and that system is more restrictive. It's not expansive. And who them not count? A whole heap of people them not count. You say if you look for a job in Jamaica and you send out resume, you go for interview, you can't get a job. You run out of money, you just say, boy, I'm not look for a job. That first week, the reference week, because them do it every quarter. The first week of the quarter, them used to do it the last week of the quarter. The last week of the quarter. So them used to do the first one like the end of March. Now them do it the beginning of January. And when them come around and them ask if you working, and if you say, boy, I'm not look for no work that weekend, no. But you're not work, but you're not look for no work. Guess what? You're not unemployed. You're not unemployed. In order to be classified unemployed in Jamaica, you must be available and you must be looking for work and can't find work. If you're available but you're not looking because you give up, them say you are part of the potential labor force. So that is a separate category. You don't get into that. So, but we're going to get into it more this Saturday. But go ahead with your comment, caller. Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt.
and there's also much to say about underemployment as well, because I'm coming back from Jamaica this weekend, right? I went down there for a week, and say, for example, I went to the post office, right? I park up because my aunt went inside to pick up something. Then I come out and realize I have to pull forward and back into a spot. But the spot says reserve. I'm trying to turn around, but you have a guy, it's up in our corner. Oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. Don't do that. But me, I say, this is where you have like people just hitch up in our spot in the name of employment for just antagonize people. And annoy people, because all I'm doing is back in the spot to turn around, But you have a guy where, even though he might have security uniform, right? But him out there direct people, right? You're going to a store and you have about 3, 4, 5 people running down. Yo, where you want? Where you want? Where you want? Where you want? Let me can't find fear. So I said, this is, you take them 5 people and you just chuck them in our store. In the name of employment, right? And them harass you. They harass you because they want a tip. And certain building where you see people each up outside, so they might do security work. They need security work. Like, for example, housing trust, I see about 4 or 5 security over there. I never hear nobody running a housing trust building and rob that the building there, because no money over there. When am I going to rob? That don't really make no sense. So, that's the one I think when me actually sip on the ground as it relates to whether would I say probably full employment or overemployment and underemployment and what you want.
All right.
But I believe that affect the law of the diminishing returns.
Look with the question
Yeah.
Give the question.
The question was really for you, is an immigration question. If you know what that pocket let me know. But my wife and I, we fill out N600K for our son, right? Under Section 322. We use his grandfather, right? Because he's a citizen. His mom is a citizen, but she never lived here long enough. They took forever to like give us a response. We've been emailing forever. But last night we were going over, we saw that they assigned an A number. So we're asking ourselves, like, what the hell is that? Because the last time I checked an A number, you see it on your green card, and that kind of give it like some form of legal status or temporary legal status. I'm just wondering what the hell is that?
No, an A number is like a receipt number. You get it. The only time that you're considered legal in the country is not with the A number, is with the green card. Or if you're outside the country, then they give you a visa if you apply for a visa. But the A number doesn't confer any immigration benefit on you. It just means that you have an application in the system and it's being processed. And it's a way to track.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a way to track it.
Okay.
All right. Let me run them. Let me see how I get another call. Take care of yourself, here.
All right, bless you.
All right. Caller, good night. Welcome to Come Reasons Rattigan. Where are you calling from?
Okay, let me turn down my
your device. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Rattigan, I call back.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I have a few little things here that I want to say.
Okay.
Okay.
You get rid of the gas problem?
Are you hearing me?
Yeah. How about the gas problem? You hear what Dr. Ben said about the gas problem?
Yes, I heard him.
Okay.
I heard him. Okay, this question goes to you. I just gotta say, some things that really come on my thoughts. One is Bolt's lawyer. Bolt must. I know that you're asking for him to get in touch with you and all of that, and I think by now he has heard that. But I'm wondering, why is he not moving forward? Well, he has a lawyer ready, but then he must realize that nothing has been happening for him over 2 years with this lawyer, and that he has to change course. Because I don't know, allegedly you hear that the lawyer is JLP or whatever. I don't know. But then that lawyer should be advocating for both more in that get international news on this matter, do all that is necessary. The word is advocate for his client. It's a lot of money, but he sits there and you don't hear anything. He don't even come out and give a press briefing, nothing at all. He just sit quietly. And I can be thinking in my head, he's saying some stuff to both because he realized that, hey, others have really looked into this matter and he's trying to reach forward further than I do. So you never can tell. He might be holding both back because I'm wondering, how has he sat for so long and says nothing? He has done nothing. Get the international media involved because Bolt is an international icon, and I think it would have done some difference. Okay, another thing, I'm not going to stay long. Now, the government, when it comes to advocacy, representation, this government has done nothing like that. Andrew Olney's government. Wherein, when it comes to school, healthcare, protecting the people, make sure law and order is upheld. Nothing like that. Now, I cannot understand how some people, what's wrong with their mind and their thinking to be saying, Andrew will win again, the best government and all of that. It really says something to me that these people are not reading or they can't understand and so on. Where's their mind going to be, believing then he has had so many years and has done nothing. What now is telling them that he's going to do it? Because he had promised before and he didn't do anything. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. He did not get Jamaica in the position it is in right now. And I believe that the government must be held accountable, as well as other members who put themselves there to represent the people. They must be held accountable individually. And we must not let go of this fight. We must keep fighting, hammer it on. Don't stop, because I don't understand Andrew Olness having so many things on him right now. And he's up for representational politics again as a prime minister. No go so. Right. Nothing in the world can ever go like this. Not even his statutory reduction can be verified. All right. So Mr. Rattigan, I'm saying they must be held accountable. This government is not stable. They are not efficient at all. So Andrew Olness cannot hold on any longer. And I want the PNP to put the fight on, order and order, to ask Andrew Olness or demand to the private sector, Andrew Olness must step down. He must step down. It is not right. It's not morally right. He must step down. So therefore, we want to know also all the names of the illicit 8. Let me say 8. Still I say 8. Although we kind of know, I know about 2 that might be in there, but I'm still saying 8. We must demand that as a people. It's our right, it's our democratic right to hold the government accountable. So we must, and the PNP must be on this, that he steps down, and also demand the names of the illicit 8 before the election is called. If we don't know all of that and he don't step down, no election can call. We must be adamant. We must show our strength right now. This is the time, Mr. Rattigan. This is the time. All right. So I want the PNP open their eyes, because he's trying to do a little here and a little there. Right. And never say no. You never know that he might slip through.
All
We
right.
cannot afford that right now.
All
So
right.
they must do all that they must and can
Okay.
to see to it that this man does not go back into government.
All right.
Lastly, is the gag order illegal? Is it illegal? I'll listen for your answer. Thank you for listening.
Okay. Thanks. All right. Let me start with the last point first. Is the gag order illegal? No, it's not. If you're referring to the gag order under the Integrity Commission Act, it specifically says that they really can't talk. Is it clear? No, it's not clear, but it's not illegal. It's ambiguous because what it essentially says, what it has been interpreted to mean is that the Integrity Commission cannot speak about an investigation until after it is tabled. Once it's submitted to Parliament and it's tabled, then they can talk about it. They don't. To the best of my knowledge, they refrain from talking about it even after that. But that's where it is. Now, if you look at the statute carefully, what it says is that if the director of if the investigation department, right, if they are doing the investigation, then you can't talk about it. However, once it's submitted, it would appear as if you can talk about it. Once you give it to Parliament, you don't have to wait for it to be tabled. Once it's submitted, essentially what it says is once the investigation is over, you can talk about it. So when you submit that investigative report to Parliament, the investigation is over. You can talk about it, but they don't. You raise another point about Bolt and his lawyer. I mean, it's speculation as to why his lawyer is not more aggressive. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, except that it's been 2 years and him not get back his money. And he said that himself. So what I've done is I've assembled a team of experts, but 5 people, and we're ready to rock and roll. All he has to do is just give me a phone call and we'll meet, and that's it. We're off to the races. So enough of that. You talk about the Prime Minister's failure, which they're actually at this point legendary. He has no, I hear him talking about legacy. He has no legacy. It's destroyed. He can't forget about that. And in fact, him shouldn't even be thinking about legacy. Leave that to the sociologists and the historians and people, not him. And you mentioned that the PNP must fight hard for this. But don't forget that you are also part of the opposition, and you need to fight too. You need to fight. And I don't want you to watch the PNP. I'm not defending the PNP, but we as a people in the diaspora, we need to get our act together and do what we need to do. Make the PNP do what they need to do. Make UIC do what they need to do. Make Up Jamaica do what they need to do. Make NDM do what they need to do. Make all them do what they need to do. We have a task at hand. And we can't be looking at people and say, well, them now fight hard enough. Yeah, you recognize it. But that shouldn't be a determining factor as to how hard and how long, or even whether you should fight. Fight we must, and fight we will continue to do. And then you mentioned, so no election unless, you mentioned the illicit 6. The illicit 6, that's within the province of the Integrity Commission. And if they don't release the names, we won't get the names. So to say, well, we're not going to have no election. An election in Jamaica is not tied to an investigative report. It's a constitution. It's in the constitution that you have 5 years within which, after the incumbent have 5 years to call an election, up to 5 years. Them can call it after the first year, second year. But it's not tied it's not tied to corruption. It's not tied to an investigative report. It's not tied to any event. Them can just call it whenever them feel like. And then we, the people, will get a chance to register our disapproval or our approval with what went on prior to the election. So the illicit 6, we can raise that issue, but you can't raise it in the context of an election because it has nothing to do with it. I hope I've answered all your questions. Panelists, hey, by the way, Pastor Ricky there, where do we know? Pastor Ricky, welcome. I know you've been listening, but I didn't know you sign on. Hey, anything you want to say? before we
Yeah,
move
good
on?
night, Sir Rattigan. Good night, Dr. Ben again. Good night, Jamaicans. Good night, everybody on the panel. Good night, everyone in the chat. God bless. The DPP is setting up. She's communicating. You have to read between the lines. We've been warning her that she wants to throw out the case because she cannot prosecute Miss Panton by herself alone. There's so many players in this case that we all have identified and we know who they are. But she's between a rock and a hard place. And she knows in her conscience that she's going to have to prosecute everybody. So with her incompetent statement today, saying that the public is going to compromise the case, foolishness. President Donald Trump was before the courts in the United States of America. He was ridiculed, shred to pieces, tried in the public domain before the judge made a ruling in the case, as you know, the hush money case, Rattigan. And he faced the court, but the judge made a decision based upon the facts, the evidence. The judge didn't listen to the public chat. Everybody has a constitutional right of free speech in America and in other democracies in the world. This DPP is the epitome of protecting corruption. She's the guardian of preventing, prosecuting politicians in Jamaica who are corrupt. And so when she makes this statement, she knows that it is the social media bloggers who took the baton. Those of us in the diaspora, those in Jamaica, big them all up. Everybody's been running with this story because it's the greatest theft in the history of Jamaica. This is the mother of all scandal. And the criminal prime minister is a partner of SSL. Put it that way. He's a partner of SSL. The evidence showed that he had 3 paid out from SSL. The first one in 2011, which is lawyer in a public interview with Zara Burton, revealed that he got a payout from SSL, the prime minister, to purchase the land that he now built his Beverly home on, mansion on. Then we know from research evidence that he had another payout from SSL in 2012. And according to the Integrity Commission report, in the IC report that was tabled in Parliament last September, we know that he had another paid out of 143,000, and I'm pretty sure he had many other paid out prior to prior to SSL closed down. So when she comes out and say that she must remember in her incompetence, because we're not idiot, we're not fool, that Kroll and Associate, the forensic audit investigators in the UK, already did an investigation. They already identified those who should be prosecuted, and they made a recommendation to her, the DPP, corrupt DPP, of those who should be prosecuted. So she doesn't need to form a committee. She doesn't need anybody to tell her what to do. The facts, the evidence, the proof is in the Kroll report. Do your job and stop trying to deceive the Jamaica people. Listen, you know this, the only station she goes on is the Jamaica Labour Party mouthpiece radio station, because they will throw softball questions at her. But if she goes on other stations that are going to deal with facts and truth, she will be exposed. The lady's corrupt to the max. She is corrupt to the max. I mean, we don't have enough time, but if you look at Royal Reid, who should be prosecuted, if you look at the former prime minister lawyer who had someone unalive in his house and claimed he was sleeping, should be prosecuted. So many other people, but for the sake of time, but just look at those 2 people. They haven't been prosecuted because she is the guardian against corruption of crooked criminal politicians. And so we're not going to let this case go. We're going to keep pounding it, and we're going to keep revealing the truth and the facts to everybody globally, internationally. And one last point, I've been saying this for the last 3 weeks, that Usain Bolt needs to fire his attorney. No disrespect to the icon, but they dropped the ball on him, man. And something is not right with his attorneys. They strung him out for 2 years. First, they say they're giving the government 10 days to make a decision on, as it relates to his $12.7 million. The 10 days elapsed 2 years ago. We haven't heard them made a move after that. And so they have Bolt sitting like a plane on a tarmac on a holding position and can't take off. So, and I've said to the icon Usain Bolt to take your family out of Jamaica. I've been saying this for the last 3 weeks. Take your mother, your wife, your children, another close family member, fly them out of Jamaica. And we've been telling them to come talk to the US FBI. I mean, I'm sure the FBI already know about this case, but they're probably watching the DPP to see if she's going to go by the rule of law and follow what the recommendation of the forensic auditors report from the UK, Kroll and Associate. Back over to you, Sir Rattigan.
Yeah, good. Look, the DPP, bad news, very bad news. And we can just only hope. Bolt, for whatever reason, or better yet, for reasons best known to him, he's not going beyond that interview he did and waiting on his lawyers to resolve the issues for him. I don't know if that's going to get him where he wants to be, but that's his choice. He'll have to live with it. Dr. Ben, I see some herbs, yeah, I know. You want to talk about some of them herbs? That's one, yeah, I know. What kind of herb that?
Well,
that looks like weed.
That looks like sideways.
That look like weed, like something you cut out of grass. Is what that?
That's a herb called fennel.
Where that good for?
And fennel is a herb that is good for stomach ache. It helps to deal with issues such as upset stomach. So it's a herb that we use for babies. Some people just call it baby fennel, and it helps to relax upset stomach.
Doc, I want to ask you a question. It's something that's been weighing heavily on my mind for quite some time now. Them have these health food stores, and let's say fennel, for example. You can go there and buy fennel. What's the difference between the fennel you're going to buy in the store and the fennel that you're going to pick from your backyard?
Well, there's the only exception is that you know exactly what you're getting when you pick it. Once it's a credible place, there shouldn't be anything different. It's just that one is dried, basically. That's the only difference.
So if you read the label and satisfied with the label, the product is going to be the same as if you pick it from your backyard and you dry it yourself.
Right.
Okay. So the potency is still going to be there.
Yes, as long as it is stored properly. Light has two major enemies, which is moisture and light. You want to store your herbs away from light. You want to store it in a cool, dry place.
Okay. All right. So fennel is good for upset stomach.
Yes, and it's one of those herbs that is safe enough for babies to use. So it's very good.
How about this one here?
This is a herb that let me ask if there's anybody who know this one. We use it a lot for women too during the menopause. It's very good for women who are going through menopause as well. This is called African basil. Very nice herb. It's in the mint family, and it helps also to calm the stomach.
Freedom of a question. She said that this one here, so that it's what's the freedom? Is good for worms.
Yeah, it will help with worms. It has an anthelmintic property to a lesser extent. Yeah, so it can be used for worms, but not one of those powerful herbs. But it has been used in formulation for cleansing the colon, because it does have that vermifuge, because most of the herbs that kill worms tend to have a very overpowering flavor, and this does. Very strong overpowering flavor.
You know, speaking about worms, what would cause somebody to have worms that they need to expel from?
Eating a diet high in meat, walking barefoot.
Walking barefoot.
Mhm.
But I thought that was highly suggested and recommended.
Yeah, but you want to walk in a place where there's no much animal feast. So it's not walking barefoot, but it's walking in places where there's a high concentration of animal waste.
Mm-hmm.
So dog waste, different animal will pass their waste because the eggs would be in their waste. So if you're walking barefoot on those places, then it's highly possible for you to contract worms or parasite.
Okay. Let me see. This is a herb. Okay.
This is another herb that's good for babies again. Anybody know this herb? Sorry. It's good for upset stomach. It's one of the few translucent herbs out there. So this, they call it, it's a herb that you can basically see through it. You can see right through it. Synthesis oregano, not oregano at all. It's used a lot for babies. It's a herb that's used a lot for babies as well. It's from the Piper family. It likes moist, cool areas. Tastes very nice. Elaine says worm does shrimp. So this herb is called, most people know it as rat's ears. Rat's ears. And it's an excellent vegetable. It can be used as a spice in your cooking. It tastes very nice. Rat's ears. Good for upset stomach as well, and it's a safe enough herb for baby to use.
What's this one here? Can't make that out.
Oh, that's the same fennel.
Well, that's fennel. Okay. Yeah, when I hear from Chris and
All right.
and Sean for
All right.
quite
Everybody's supposed to know this one.
The good old mint.
Yeah, man. Black mint. Black mint. Very good. For upset stomach as well. All right.
Grows everywhere.
Yeah, grows everywhere. Black mint. Another one, OT. All right. Everybody's supposed to know this one too. And most persons supposed to know this one.
Who know that one there? Who know that herb there? Talk up quick there.
I'm the Jewel Vaz. Jewel Vaz, you don't know that herb?
Cynthia B got it.
Right.
Oh,
you got it.
elder.
Pepper elder. Another very good herb for upset stomach. And the stalk has some little small seeds on it. So also it's good as a spice. And it helps with upset stomach. It helps to calm the stomach as well. Pepper elder. Use it with ginger. All right. Another herb.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Who know this one? While they're looking, Andy says that our 3-year-old gets constipated. What herb can? All right. So before you even go to the herb, you want to look at a 3 years old. You want to look at that child's diet. Is she drinking enough water? Is she consuming enough roughage? Before we move to what to take or what to give, the first thing I say, real black woman said jointer. All right, you're very close. I give you a point to that because it's pepper L is what we call jointer, but it's in the same family. All right, so for going back to the 3 years old, you want to look at the water intake. You want to look at the fiber. And, what I find happen to a lot of these children is that they're given they call it now, formulas. And the formulas are high in dairy. So I don't know if that's the case, but you want to increase that child's water and fruit intake. And at that age, you don't necessarily want to give herbs. As a matter of fact, we strongly discourage it because it can affect them. You want to look at that age, their system shouldn't be dysfunctional. So more than likely, if you look at the water, if you look at the vegetable, or if you remove the dairy, that constipation should go away.
And the quality of the water too.
Yeah, the quality of the water. All right, so this herb is related to the black gianta or the pepper elder. It's a herb called matico. It's Dr. Sebi refers to it as cordancilla negro. So it's not search me art. It's a very, 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 very good herb for healing the stomach. So for persons who have stomach acidity, with the walls of the stomach is damaged,
Hold on a second.
this herb works best in helping to restore the stomach. It's used in tandem or in collaboration with herbs like matico or West Indian with West Indian help or slippery elm. It's used in collaboration with some type of mucilaginous herb to help the stomach. So we make a medicine from this. We dry it, we powder it, and then we add West Indian elm, and you take it as a tea, as a liquid. And we have seen persons come to us with stomach problem for years upon years upon years upon years. I remember one man, he had to go back to just eating just food, plain food. And this was what we gave him. And many persons, and this is what heals his stomach. It's very, 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 can't emphasize how good this is. So this is a herb in your seat. It's not a herb to take for granted.
All right, hold on a second, Doc. Caller, good night. Welcome to Conversations Friday. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good man. This lady we had the baby with the constipation. I'm gonna tell her something where a doctor introduced me to. 1983, I give birth to my first child. And the child couldn't pass his food in some cases, like the doctor. And I went, and they have this terrible cold. And I went to Doctor, the Arthur Winch of blessed memories. And one day he said to me, why you live? I was young, I'm telling him. And he tell me to get a coconut, dry coconut, and grate the coconut and boil it down to oil, get the garlic. After me strain off the oil, burn the garlic, but don't just golden brown, not burn up. And my daughter is 41 now, and I tell you, I have never carried back that child to the doctor. I give the child a quarter teaspoon, just a little quarter, so till he get a little bigger, I give him half of that Mary. And she's now 42, 41 years old. And she's good. And remember, it's a medical doctor tell me to do that. No more medication. Just grate the coconut, make it boil down to oil. After you cool on the oil, you get the garlic, put in there, and make it fry, golden brown, but not black. Cool it down, store it in a jar with a big mouth, not a little buckle, a jar, and they give the child. And you can see the daughter now. Right? So, a mother, and she did have worm also too. And she right now, from that time until now, I've never been her to doctor. She becomes a big woman. And she not go to doctor. Much wrong, like probably period problem or whatever. She'll be married or not. So those things may have some mothers just take in what Dr. Benna say. And when it come to herb, Dr. Harter will tell me, say the reason why them don't recommend the herb to people, because all of the medication with biopharmacy come from the herb, but people do not know how to prepare it, and it will scarce your liver. You say don't boil it, but put it in steep it, and you give it to the child, depends on the child age. Dr. Harter win, that's blessed memories. All right.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Yeah, man. So a lot of times it's the formulas that they give the children that have the dairy in it that causes the constipation. So a lot of women don't want to breastfeed, don't want, and so that's one of the main reasons why they have it at that age. Deeper formula they give them.
See a question, Doc. What can help with eczema in a child besides corticosteroids?
A good herb for that is a herb called deer jasmine. Um, and vitamin E oil is also very good, which so happens to be abundant in coconut oil, cold pressed coconut oil, shea butter. These are oils high in vitamin E, so you can add them to the skin. But in terms of helping to get rid of the eczema, there's a herb called deer jasmine. And you can just get the herb. If you get it fresh, you can just rub it in the water. The water turn green, and just bathe the child in it. Or you can, if you get it dry, you can make a tea from it, and then use that to bathe the person. Or you can make a soap from it, or you can get an infused oil. Deer jasmine is very good for those conditions. So that's one of the herbs at the top of the list for me.
Somebody asked, have you published a book?
I have some ebooks on my site that I've written. I don't get a chance to really publish them yet, but they're available in ebook form on our website at icmwellnessmarketplace.net. Just go there and look for ebooks, and you'll find. I think I have 2 or 3 there. And oatmeal as well. I see Carl Allen said oatmeal is also very good. You just get the oatmeal and soak it in water and just put it on the skin. Well, that helps more so with the itching. It helps to soothe the itching and get rid of the itching. And goat milk is also very good. So they make a soap from that. Goat milk soap. All of those help to soothe, but in terms of getting rid of the eczema. And of course, the child shouldn't be consuming any dairy or playing in dirt.
I don't know about this question. Somebody said, does shrimp have parasites since they're ocean cleaners?
Well, I don't eat shrimp, not personally, but because of what they do, they're more. It's very likely.
So if you eat shrimp, what kind of herb you have to take then?
For shrimp, then you need parasites like black wormwood, cloves, black walnut. These are herbs that get rid of parasites out of the body.
Okay. Yeah, we're not hear from Sean or Chris in a while. Gentlemen.
No, we're just listening. I just listening.
We're still looking forward to going to the list of herbs.
Yeah.
I thought you had identified that one, Dr. Ben.
Because even with the eczema, there are other things that can be used, but the underlying factor there was the child's age. You know, so if it was an older person, though, sarsaparilla is also good, but not for a 3-year-old. You know, so what Doc was saying was, for that age, that is the best thing. There's nothing. There's no need to interject. You know.
Yeah.
Pastor.
Yeah, I have a question about marijuana. So I know
marijuana.
There is sense to me. So I know that if you boil it and drink it, it's a medicine, and it does several things to the body. But when you smoke it, it kind of slow your brain down. Because I remember when I was in the dance halls back in the days, DJing on the sound systems, I would light a big head split about 2-3 in the morning. By 4 o'clock, you kind of start slow down. Because you smoke one heap of weed from 10 o'clock the night before. That's the whole of inspiration. But then I know that if you drink it as a tea, you know, it's totally different from when you smoke it. And now I'm hearing for the last 10 years that it has medical antibiotic benefits to it, where it can heal certain chronic disease. Is that true? Can you
Oh yeah. So we have you have what is called the human beings have what is called a cannabinoid system. And a cannabinoid system is kind of like what's the word now? It's like a whole healing system, and that our cannabinoid system fuses perfectly with the cannabinoids found in marijuana. And so when that fusion takes place, so our cannabinoid system is kind of like our immune system. So when that fusion takes place between the cannabinoids in marijuana, um, it is not fully yet, it's not yet fully understood, but healing begins to take place. And I can tell you that we use we use marijuana a lot in our practice, especially for people with cancer, people with sleeping issues and some nerve issues and pain management. So we use marijuana for quite a number of ailments, and it's always very effective and give good results. So in terms of smoking it, I know that some doctors prescribe it, even it being smoked for helping with certain conditions like glaucoma and so on. But you don't have to consume it, because when you smoke it, then you also increase the risk of it affecting your lungs. So you can consume it without smoking it, and there's a whole lot of different benefits. It's still being studied because there are so many unidentified compounds, unidentified components found in marijuana. So it's a study that is still in process. But I've used it, and I've seen many testimonies from it.
Thank you.
Doc, if you walk in the forest, and you, Sean and Chris, and you can pick out your herbs, and you know exactly how to process it, and the dosage to take and all of that. But for an amateur listening to you and walking through the backyard, or through the forest or whatever, looking for these things, is there a risk that the person could be using something that's poisonous? And that's one. And the second one is there a risk that the person could be using something that's good, but using it in the wrong dosage and end up getting poisoned?
There's a risk. Small, but there's a risk. Because what happened is that and there's a risk, and this is what I said to persons. Even though there's a risk, the plant would, all plants in nature communicate to us some way, in some way, that what you're taking shouldn't be taken, or that amount should not be taken. So for example, I go back and I say, for example, let's look at a plant that we know, mango. When mango isn't ready, how do you know? It's very tangy, or it will burn up your mouth. So what plants do? Plants have taste and textures that act as deterrents. Taste and textures that act as deterrents. So it will have a taste that is not enjoyable, or it will have a texture that is not really so nice. And that's one of the ways in which it communicates. So if you take, so for example, when mango is ready, it has a taste and a texture that attracts you to want to eat more. If you're not careful, your blood sugar gone up. The same thing for mango, for bananas, for all fruits, for all plants. There's a taste and texture that tells you when this plant is not ready. And if you even take a small amount, it doesn't encourage you to take a lot of it. And yes, I talk about plants. Plants have a different life, different stages. And so at some stage in a plant, it is more of a vegetable. And then at some other stage, it is more of a medicine. And usually when it becomes medicinal is when after it starts to flower, because when it begins
Which
to
bad?
flower.
You hearing it bad?
Hold on a second. Yeah, we can turn on your device, please, and I'll call you when Dr. Ben is finished.
Yeah, the flower is the
I want to ask him something.
is the developed
You
reproductive.
call me back?
No. Just hold the line. Let Dr.
Yeah,
Ben
let the person go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. All right, but
It's just a quick question, quick answer.
Go ahead.
Tell me when to go ahead.
Go ahead.
Dr. Ben.
Yes.
I've heard this quite often and growing up too, and then I adapt to it. Is it true that the pots that we cook in has something to do with our health?
Definitely.
Because I don't use the ordinary pots anymore. I use the one like stainless steel, those thick bottom pots. Is it true that?
Yeah, man, definitely. The aluminum pots, especially the aluminum pots that we cook out.
Did you hear my question?
Yes, he's answering it right now. He's saying the aluminum.
Okay.
He said,
all right. Okay. Thank.
Yeah, the aluminum pots that we use, those Dutchy, those aluminum pots, are by and large not healthy for us because when you are cooking in them, there are chemical reactions taking place between the metal and your food. You don't want that. So there are certain metals like stainless steel that where that doesn't happen, or glass where that doesn't happen.
As well as the a lot of these pots that are coated.
Yeah.
It's
you definitely want to stay away from
non-stick.
The non-stick one. You see, don't ever make the mistake where like you get it gets a scratch, which it invariably does because most people don't know how to clean it because there's a procedure to clean those pots. Throw them away because it releases a lot of chemicals that's not good for you. So if you have a coated pot, it's fine once it's not ruptured. When I say ruptured, I mean it's scraped, right? But once it's scraped, get rid of it. And for everybody who has it, I want you to YouTube how to clean those pots because it's very specific versus a traditional Dutchy, a traditional stainless steel pot.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So we're running a plant on the screen. I think Carol got it right. Carol Allen says it's chamomile. Yeah, that is a famous chamomile plant, and that is also very good for the stomach. It helps to relax upset stomach. So it's one of those herbs that help with also stomach pain, because there are some herbs that we call them stomach ache. This is one of them. It helps with stomach pain. Like you have griping and your belly hurting you. This is one of those herbs that are very good for that. I saw, somebody says, how do you identify the herbs? And yeah, Carol, how do you identify these? And so, as I said, the 3rd of March, I'll be starting a new series. And that's we're going to spend some time looking at helping persons to identify how to identify plants. We look at the leaves. Two main thing we look at is the leaves, which is the size of the leaves, the shape of the leaves, the arrangement of the leaves, the vein design on the leaves. That's the leaf. And then we now have the flowers. The size of the flowers, arrangement of the flowers, all of these help us to be able to identify particular plants and differentiate them.
We have 7 minutes to go. 7 minutes to go. What's up?
All right, so this one is ginger.
Ginger, yeah.
And ginger, there's another herb that looks like this called galangal. That's also very good, but this is actually ginger. All right, everybody know this one.
Of course.
Yes. Which one is this one?
Good old Rosie.
Rosemary.
Right, rosemary. So everybody know this one. Very good. This herb also helps to increase blood flow to the brain. So when persons who want mental alertness and clarity, this herb does that as well. It helps to increase blood flow to the brain. And it also helps the stomach. It's a seasoning, so you can cook with it as well.
Hold
Helps.
on. Also for smokers, if you smoke a lot, you're reducing oxygen to the brain. That's just a byproduct of it. So this is when it says increases oxygen level to the brain, this is a good tea. You should have on rotation. This and mullein.
Melon.
Mullein is good for your respiratory.
Look for your lungs.
Yeah, your lungs. So if you're a smoker, whatever you're smoking, this rosemary and mullein are two of your best friends. Jack wants to just stop smoking. He's just said that done.
Yeah, man, it helps to relax. So very good herb.
Yeah.
These are some herbs you need to always have on.
Yeah.
Let me ask a question, Doc. You see like a proliferation of oils right now on the market.
Yeah.
Aromatherapy. Like you say, some of the herbs you just show, they have them in oil form.
Right.
How does that help when you burn that in your place?
Or does it what?
How does it work? Does it provide the same benefits as just something?
No, it does. So here's what happened. These herbs have they're called aromatics. The reason why they're called aromatics is because that fragrance that you're smelling is the result of what we call volatile oils. Because herbs also tell you what is the best mode to deliver them, you know. So these herbs, when you squeeze them, you literally can see the oil. And what it's telling is that most of the active ingredient is present in the form of oil, because all plants have water, oil, and alcohol in them, you know. All plants have alcohol, water, and oil. And so for plants who are predominantly oil, it's best to use them medicinally as oils. For plants that have alcohol, and you know the ones that have alcohol, because when you squeeze them and the liquid come up, in a very short period of time, like the mints and so on, the alcohol disappear. The juice disappear because the medicine is in alcohol form. And then you have some medicines that are in water form. So the herbs, if you study them, if you pay attention to them, they also tell you what is the best form or best mode of delivery of the herb. So these herbs that we just mentioned, they are very effective as oils. All right. So they're very, 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 because the active medicines are present in oil form already.
Yeah, but if you're supposed to, no, go ahead, Pastor.
So yes, if you extract them, and there are different ways of extracting them. There's what we call fractional distillation, and then there is infusion. Fractional distillation is more accurate, but the yield is a small amount but very potent. Very, 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 very potent. We use steam distillation to extract it. Infusion is where you get a carrier oil, and you put the herb in it, and then it releases the oil in that carrier oil. Not so strong.
Yeah. I have a question. First, let me apologize to Steve and Chris. I wasn't sure what your name were when I came on, so I didn't call you by name. So
Sean.
See, that's why I didn't call names at first.
That's
but
fine.
Dr. Ben, I used to work in the pharmacy back in the days as a pharmacy technician, and I compound all kind of medicine. And I know that every medication has side effects. So what would you recommend to those who are crazy about herbal products? Because everything has side effects. So would you recommend, before we go out and buy some bottle of herbal medicine from a herbalist, that we first consult with a doctor to make sure that if you're on medication, you don't want to cause a clash, drug interaction with the herbal stuff? What is your perception on drug interaction with?
All right, so the first thing is that drugs work a little different from herbs. What's the definition of a herb versus a drug? So a drug is a synthesis or an extract of a herb. So so a drug is where you synthesize, which is you create a artificial chemical resembling the one naturally found in a plant. That's a synthesis. Or extraction is where you go into the herb to take out one component that you want to use. Now, in nature, herbs are formulated, balanced by the creator, which is so I'm gonna answer your question about the healing reactions going on. So when you take a herb in its natural form, that herb, when it was made with other components in it to neutralize the effects of what could potentially hurt you. That's number one, and that's the reason why herbs are such a great option in comparison to drugs. It's formulated in a balanced way. So that's why you want to take the whole herbs. When you start to go to supplements and when you start to go to even though it says it's a natural supplement, once you start to extract from the plant, it's no longer natural. It potentially has the it potentially can hurt you. Now, does that mean that herbs don't have what we call quote unquote side effects or what we call reactions, or you can't react with other drugs that you're taking? No. And so what I said to the person is that when you are going to learn about herbs, the same time you're learning about a herb, you should also know the opposite action of that herb. So when I talk about, for example, herb with, if you need a herb with, I'll talk about the action of the herb. So you must know the opposite action of the action that you desire. So for example, let us say you want a herb that you want a astringent action from a herb. You must also know what is the action opposite to astringency. So that if it is that you take a plant and you use too much astringency, you must know what herbs have the action that is opposite to that to bring back the balance.
To reverse it, yeah.
Yeah, to bring back the balance. So even when you're making medicines, most medicines or most formulations should have, you have what is called a lead herb, which is what the desired actions are. You are also going to have what is called a balancing herb. So for example, if you're going to make a laxative, if you're going to make a medicine that's a laxative, right? And a laxative would be like Senapods or Cascara Sagrada, which laxatives cause contractions of the colon. What happens if you make the medicine and you're having too much contraction, so your diarrhea is prolonging longer than what it should be? You must know what is the opposite to neutralize those contractions. Yeah. So you would put like a peppermint that would neutralize those convulsions of the stomach. So you always have to know, or as best as is possible. If you're gonna do it for somebody, if you're gonna do it for yourself, fine. But if you're gonna make medicine for persons, you must know what is the opposite actions of the lead actions that you're looking for in the medicine. At least that you must know. And this has happened to me already. I remember a guy came to me who had high blood pressure, and he wanted some medicines for erection. And I gave him a formulation, and he took it along with his blood pressure medication. And the man called me a panic, saying, they raced, and him feel worse than or he should feel, and boy, him feel like him more dead, and in a panic. And I mean, him just keep calling me back one after the other. So I said to him, okay, first of all, go to the nearest hospital. He went to the hospital. I said, when you go there, let me talk to the nurse. I explained to the nurse that basically he shouldn't have taken that herb along with his blood pressure medication. So his heart was racing. Because one of the herb was a herb called yohimbe. Right? The formulation contains yohimbe in it. So his heart was racing fast. So I had to tell the nurse and then tell them what to do. And basically, he was panicking, but when I spoke to the nurse, they said, oh, okay. And then we gave him a herb that now would counteract the effects of the yohimbe. And in a very short period of time, his heart just came right down to normal, and he was okay.
There
So
was an interaction, drug interaction.
yeah, drug interaction, but he shouldn't take both medications, you know. So and what I should have done was to emphasize, knowing that he had high blood pressure, I should have emphasized, or that's one, or two, I start him low and then let him gradually increase. So you can start, for example, a person who is taking a blood thinner, you can give them herbs that contain blood thinner in it, but you have to start them very low and let them gradually increase.
Oh, by the way, Doc, somebody was asking, what does the mullein looks like? Oh gosh.
They wouldn't see it, they wouldn't know it like that. They'd
Yeah.
have to look it up.
Yeah, and it has a very, when it's dried, it has a very sponge-like texture to
Yeah.
it. I
It's,
don't know
it's
how
grown in
to-
the States. It's not a herb that grows in Jamaica. So you
Yeah,
can
it
just look it
has
up.
a very sponge-like texture, but it's not just for it's not just for smokers. It's your lung, your whole respiratory system. It's good for, you know. So yeah, because at the end of the day, even if you're not smoking, and even if you take smoking out of the equation, the environment that you're in. If you're in New York, you're taking the subway, you're underground, we're pent up in buildings. It's winter time. Well, winter almost finished. I keep my windows open, but other persons keep theirs closed. You know what I mean? So and when you clean up your place and the Febreze and the thing that you're spraying, you're killing yourself. That is where like the mullein would actually help you guys.
Yes.
It's a good herb to have.
Yeah, I said Jack one says, I had a case very recently. We normally liver flush. And I had this guy that I came to me last week and said, "Boy, doctor, when I take a liver flush, it not do nothing for me." And I wasn't even penetrating him. So he came back to me this week again. So I had him for a consultation. And he said, "So we go do for me because they tell us that the liver flush don't work none tall." And now I was in a focus mode. I could say, "Oh, I know why it didn't work. It didn't work because of your height." They call him giant. So medicine is basically dispensed. So we have what is called a default or recommended
setting
dosage, But then outside of that, if the person weighs a certain amount or height, then you have to factor that, because this person, the reason why it didn't work for them was because of their height and because of their weight, their body weight. So that medicine, that formulation was based on the average person. This person was above the average person. So you'd have to know which ingredient to increase to get better results.
Don asks, did his penis come alive?
Oh, his penis. What happened to him? No, at the time it never come alive. But I didn't follow up with him, because here's what. Follow up in the sense that there are some. He was very anxious, very panicky and very anxious, and sometimes if he's in your care, so if I had him in my control, I would work with him. But to work with him remotely, no, he wasn't a good candidate for remote care. So you have to also know that is not everybody can be worked with in the same way. Some people, you get a better result if you're able to keep them. You get a better result than if they're on their own, because he's so anxious to get his plumbing fixed that him just overcompensate himself. So
And
at
remember,
the time his plumbing wasn't fixed.
And remember, Doc, even if your plumbing is fine, as men who at some shape or form or the other, we would have experienced that when you're anxious, when you're too anxious,
yeah,
that in itself can be a problem, even under normal circumstances where your plumbing is in working order. So when you couple over anxiousness and the lack of PVC pipe, problems.
Jarrell Vaz said remote penis care no work.
Look, we'll get ready for wine or no, but let me put this up and you can talk to the people about this again.
Oh, yes. All right. So this is our COVID-19 injury recovery weekend. And it goes all the way up until April 27th. So if you're in Jamaica, I mean, if you're looking to recover, it's not just going to be focused on medicine. It's going to be a complete retreat. It's going to include herb walk. It's going to include so much that will benefit you. Please just reach out to me, or you can check the number. It's only 50,000 Jamaican dollars or 350 US, and it's for a weekend retreat. If you want to come and experience that, then please reach out to me, and you can benefit
And
from
what
that.
is the $350? What does that cover?
It covers accommodation and meal,
Oh, not bad.
and it also accommodates all the therapy. So $350 is I mean that's it's a giveaway.
Yeah.
And it's what we want is we want persons to really experience what we have to offer. You could come and do a consultation, and just the consultation and products alone could easily run you $350. So to come and get food and to get accommodation and to get assessment and it won't cover the medicine naturally, but everything else. It's gonna be in St. Thomas. It's gonna be at the so it's 350 US dollars or 50,000 Jamaican dollars, and it's going to be at the Source Farm, in Johnstown, St. Thomas. Whereas like right time cold, man, is a good way to escape the cold.
OT, if you can put up the details, that would be great. Here's another thing too. This one here, the president himself, he's having a fish fry and festival roadblock free. This is the his charity, Free Spirit Outreach, and they're having a charitable event on Saturday, March 1st. That's this Saturday from 12 p.m. and I guess until you say when, because it's at 12 p.m. all night. It's gonna be held at the Wall, which is located at 4664 Shall Way, Schall Way West, and that's in Palm Beach, Florida. If you want the zip code, it's 33417. And they have music, they have food, they have fish, escovitch and steam, they have chicken, jerk, and stew. We have jerk pork, curry goat, manish water, and all proceeds will be in aid of the 2025 Operation Upreach Jamaica Back to School and Health Fair project. So I guess that's gonna take place sometime in it. The event is this Saturday, but the proceeds will go towards helping out kids going back to school in September. So make it a date and don't be late. If you're in the Palm Beach area, please stop by. President would love to see you. All right. Gentlemen, we have to leave now, so we can make some closings.
Hold on a sec. Jack One says that's why men don't come forward with ED issues because you all laugh. Jack One,
Okay.
to be frank with you, as men, we laugh amongst ourselves. I really don't know. Like, if a foot chop off, you and your friend them gonna laugh, or your foot chop off, and then we'll figure out a way how to solve it. So it is what it is. Don't take it. Trust me, men find a way, or the women find a way for them to get help. You know what I mean? So that's all I would say on that matter. Yeah.
And sometimes, sometimes it is so serious that you best for laugh. Otherwise, it affect your mentality. Like, you
You
need to have
stop
a
and they would
deeper
just figure out something. You just figure
Yeah.
out something. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Well, let me ask Jack one. Jack one, are you saying that we shouldn't laugh about it? And if we shouldn't laugh, how should we approach it? If we have a brethren who have this issue, how should we approach it?
Because I can tell you, as a man, and you amongst a group of man, no matter how embarrassing the situation is, we laugh and then we figure out a solution. Like it's not a whole, because the thing about it is that we are acutely aware that it can happen to us too. You know,
Yeah, and
we
also them say why men don't come forward. Well, on another level, they're not coming forward to us. They're gonna go see Dr. Ben. They're gonna go
Right.
see sister. They're
Exactly.
gonna go see Sean, and then they're not gonna be laughing at them. They're gonna say, okay, let's see if we can, how we can best address this.
Right.
This is we're just laughing in a generic way. We just laugh because it just sounds funny about the thing. But then they wouldn't be coming to us for advice regarding this. They'd go talk to Dr. Ben. Then they would come to us after them. Dr. Ben raised the dead. And them come and them start telling me, and we laugh about it. And we say, well, we have to say Dr. Ben too. So
We always find humor in
this week.
The best among us can find humor in
this
every
week,
situation.
Our last week, one of my greatest delight is when I hear, especially for men who have an enlarged prostate. I think it was 2 of them last week that called me. I think we have about 2 this week to come to remove their catheter. 2 last week that removed their catheter. One before he came, he had it in for over a year. One for a couple of months. And when them call and, they come, give them the medicine, they come and them take out the catheter, and them call you, they say, give me an update a week after, 2 weeks after, then call and say, boy, 2 weeks now that catheter out and, still things good. Most of them who have erection issue, after we get out the catheter, then we go after the erection. So usually when they're going home, after the day when they come and we get the catheter out, normally we have 2 medical doctors that work on our street that we would send them to remove the catheter, and then they would come back to our office. Then we would give them 6 buckle of the medicine to help with their erection. We say take half in the morning, half in the evening, and they call us back to say, well, yeah, erection start to come back. It's a good feeling, it's a good feeling. When I was leaving Morant Bay to come down, one of them came back and said, Doc, time we take out, give him some medicine. He said, I think it's time to take out the catheter now because the urine start to flow around the catheter. So he said, yeah, that's one of the ways we know when the prostate shrink. So I'm coming in Tuesday. When him coming in Tuesday, we're going to help him. We're going to send him to one of our medical doctors. They'll remove the catheter. We'll give him 6 buckle of medicine, half in the morning, half in the evening. And it's a good feeling when you can see, say, yeah, them get results, and they tell somebody else. It's a really good feeling. So, they laugh, but in the long run, they come. It's just who we are as men. When you hang out with men are very different. Things that women would get sensitive about.
Yeah.
For men, it's a part of who we are.
Because and the person sometimes who's laughing the hardest is the one who's coming, who has the problem. Because at this point you're just like, yeah. If you're not laugh, you're gonna cry.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? So as a whole, Jack, and I'm gonna say that usually men are not as touchy-feely about the thing as
thin skin
as you think, we laugh because you remember, as from we can remember ourselves, we know that there's gonna come a day.
Mm-hmm.
We know it's gonna come a day. If you live long enough, it's gonna come a day when you are gonna be affected in some way, shape, or form.
But
So it's just something that we have to live with.
I just tell Jason that Jason said we should not laugh, we should cry for the dead. Actually, Jason, we're rejoicing over the risen.
Can I preach that on Sunday? Can I preach that on Sunday, Sir Rattigan?
Any day we can't laugh anymore, then we won't.
Yeah, and ED has no respect for age. Albeit the older you are, you're more susceptible, but ED has no respect for age. You could just be going through a tough spot in your life, work problems, woman problems, just problems in general, mental problems and whatnot, and this is a byproduct of that. So yeah,
Yeah. Dr. Ben is gonna address that on Wednesday on my live on TikTok. So we're looking forward to that conversation.
Good. All right, gentlemen. Chris, Sean, any parting words? Doc, Pastor.
Wow.
I can go first because let me just say real quick to the DPP, she tried Vibes Cartel case. One of that was one of the most talked about cases in the history of Jamaica, internationally, globally. Yet she moved forward with the prosecution, and she even admitted that she knew the jury was tainted, but yet she still made a prosecution. Today, so bloggers tapping into some real truth that they're trying to conceal, that don't want to come out. And so, and then also it appears that she's signaling that she might let Gina go because everybody's talking about the case, but she didn't do that with Vibes Cartel. So all eyes are on the DPP. That's my parting words, to do the right thing.
All right. My parting words tonight was a really, we had we shied away from the medical thing in the beginning, but we had a good banter. And I would say that Jamaica is the first time I'm actually interacting with you, but I am excited to see with how you articulate yourself, how you plan to um materialize that, for the benefit of Jamaica later on. So I wish you nothing but the best on your journey. And I just don't want you to take with such a brilliant mind and such passion, I don't want you to take necessarily a backseat. I want, and I'm not saying that you are. I'm just saying it's the first time I'm interacting with you, so I don't know. I don't know the history, what it is that you do and so forth. But with how your mind works and the attention to detail and so forth, I hope that you utilize it for the betterment of not only yourself but for the country. And yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I have the
okay.
utmost respect for everybody who took the time out to speak to our panel today. And I just want to say that I take a page out of Jeanette. Remember to be owners. It definitely starts with the people, but it starts with the people taking responsibility and taking ownership of Jamaica, and not just letting what we hear be what we do. Right? Every good book will tell you, that basically, you can't just talk about something. You have to take action. I think with all the information that Rattigan gives us, it's up to us as good owners to take action and steer Jamaica in the right place. And I think that with the abundance of information, everything is changing. We have to let it change, because anything other than and outside of this has a possibility to become anarchy. As Dr. Ben touched those points, I feared, and felt bad for the people with Haiti, with, Trump getting ready to deport them. There's all kinds of questions that we're starting to hold our leaders accountable for in the States. Like, how come you only seem to be deporting people of color? There are a bunch of Ukrainian people here that got asylum. Holding politicians accountable is something that America has possibly been really good at for a long time. And I think that as Jamaica becomes more of a republic, and as we start to hold more politicians accountable, we will get and create a greater country. And I will never give up on our people, as far as being able to do that. I did, we did get a chance to touch on herbs a little bit, and I hope we get to do some more next week. Thank you all for listening to us. And if you have any questions, continue to send them to us. We're here to help, and we're here to get the information out and in. We want to find out what you want to know. So thank you.
All right. Yeah. Wonderful. So again, as is usual, I'm excited about an opportunity to share on a platform like this. And I try to make myself available. Again, as I say, the greatest weapon against sickness and disease is education, not medication. So whenever you get a chance to come on a program like this, just come with your questions. It's difficult for me sometimes to talk because there's so much that I want to say sometimes that you don't even know where to start. But when you are being asked a question, it helps to kind of direct you into where you are to go. So again, I want to thank you for listening, and hope to see you guys next week.
All right. Look, it's been a pleasure. I look forward to seeing all of you again next week. So until then, take care of yourselves and be well.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
All right, and thank you.
All right.
Your eyes.